Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to Rise and Shine College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame college football. Ryman, thank you. Welcome into the show, Ryman Lehman, Scott Walker, Johnny Boy, Logan Litkey, Billy On, Bishop Frank, Derek Hamilton. What's up there? D, Brandon Snake. Hey, welcome into the show, everybody. Glad to see everybody in here. Let's get it. Hey, talk a little bit about the draft coming up this weekend for Oklahoma and where we kind of see what's going to happen with who. Also, a little bit about a couple different things. You know, there's some different stuff going on, but obviously you have the signings of a good depth piece at defensive tackle, as well as a tight end for a tight end that's possibly going to be signed. It looks like he's pretty close. What's up there, Professor Drewski? What's up, boys? How we doing? So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, I already washed my hands. Don't worry. We're waiting again. Oh, what do you mean? Silly talk. All you gotta do is check the posts, brother. I always make sure whenever we have something going on. And last week was a rough one, so was what it was. But yeah, welcome to the show, Brandon Snake. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Let's see. Dang, can't change the video speed to 1.5. Now I sound slow. What do I sound like at 1.5 though? Holy shit. That's got to be crazy. All right. Welcome in, everybody. Let's see. All right. So, obviously, we're going to have Big Cuz Marcus Den in here in a few minutes, possibly Big Mike as well. He said he's got to get back to his house. So, we'll see if we get him in here or not. But Big Cuz will be in a minute. He's got a phone call going on. What's up, Professor? What are you doing, man? You want to jump in? I'd be happy to have you. Talk a little bit about the draft. Hey, the Professor is like the draft. The reason he got the name the Professor is because of the fact that he could pick those damn draft picks. I think I'll let him tell us if he gets in here where he was at as far as that was. I think 2 years ago he was like 27, 28 out of 32 first rounders. He got them in their correct order. He was on fire, just on fire. It may have even been better than that. But yeah. Welcome in though. Yeah, but talking about some of these guys, man, it feels like Billy Bowman and Stutsman have been expected to do very, very well. Hey man, glad. Appreciate it. Yes, and make sure that you wipe your feet, folks. Yeah, it feels really like that. Well, Stutsman and Bowman. I mean, we heard a lot about what Billy did at the Senior Bowl. Just, I mean, making a name for himself. We had our guy, obviously, our boy, Brinsky Sharp was there covering the Senior Bowl, and he gushed about Billy Bowman and what he was doing that entire week. He's one of the guys that really made himself some money. I think going into the week, he was probably looking at being closer to like 5th round, even, and maybe sneaking into the 4th. The way you've heard them talking since then is he's a 4th, maybe even 3rd, and low 3rd pick. So we'll kind of see how it all ends up. I think a lot of it depends. Once you get out of that first round where they're really going for best player available, you start looking at it just kind of depends on who needs what, and you know what I mean. So you could see them definitely somebody hopping up there and grabbing him earlier than what some of these projections are. But I think right now they've got Billy expected to go in like the 4th, and Stutsman expected to go in like the 3rd. I'd love it, to see. Yeah, Stutsman projected. I've heard Denver. I've heard the Niners as well. I'd love it, and I'd love that. So yeah, I'll send it to you, man. I'll send it to you right now. I'd love it if he ended up with the Niners. I'm a Niner fan, so that would be cool. again, you guys know I'm not a huge NFL guy these days because of the Otis Taylor stuff. I just kind of got real pissed off about it, and so I think kind of like fuck the NFL. But I do love football, so it is what it is. Let's see, Professor. There he is. Here you go, Professor. You got a leak. 10 days out, don't listen to the propaganda, Lemon. Well, and that's, you know what, that's a lot to it. I mean, I think a lot of what what you start hearing, especially about the first rounders and stuff, is those guys, you've heard a lot of different things about Shador versus and Travis Hunter and Cam Ward and where they're going to end up. Some you even start hearing stuff like Shador's not even going to be in the first round kind of stuff. I think that's silly shit. Whether or not you think he's the best quarterback in the country, he's definitely one of the best quarterbacks, and they reach for quarterbacks more than anybody else in the draft. So I would suspect that that's probably going to be what happens. I heard Shador hurt his draft stock with the interviews. Any truth to this? Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. A lot of that stuff gets thrown out there so that people hoping that they'll fall to them and stuff and get other people all that other stuff. So I don't know. Is Jim Nagy currently cooking while we only have a few days left with the portal being open? I mean, look, I think that these were big pickups. I think he did a good job with getting these guys and adding some depth in those positions. If they end up landing Mason from Missouri State, he's what our guys are talking about is like a 7 out of 10 guy, as far as like where Jaden Knott's probably a 9 out of 10. That's what Chris Mason was talking about yesterday. So I mean, it looks like he's pretty close as far as that goes. I'm not sure if they've gotten it completely done yet or not, but we'll find out here shortly. Welcome into the show from High Top Sports Recruiting, our boy, the professor.
What's up?
Sprague, what up, dog? What you doing?
Oh, another day in paradise. Just sprayed the yard for weeds and now I'm dying. Pollen is terrible right now.
Yeah, that shit, man. Where you guys are at, you probably got it in your hair. Hair's all yellow and shit. And
Yeah.
yeah, shit is wild. It gets all in your nose.
Oh
Eesh.
yeah. But yeah, I could hop on talk draft for a little bit. I still have some draft stuff to do, but I can definitely
Yeah.
hop on.
Well,
Uh
tell us what you're thinking about. What are you hearing about Danny Stutsman, Billy Bowman, either of the two? I mean, and obviously we can talk a little bit of draft stuff about at large the first round. That's obviously coming up tomorrow night. So, um,
yeah, so I think truthfully, it's kind of a odd year. Um
mhm.
Usually we have a position group that's just outstanding. We think about some of the drafts in the past, like the Justin Jefferson draft. You could go get a wide receiver all the way down to the fourth round.
Yeah, yeah.
Running backs seem to have their value back.
Hmm.
They went a couple years of not drafting anybody in the first round, but now I think Ashton Gentry is the next big thing.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
they've been talking about him a little bit, and I think a lot of that probably has to do with the fact of what you saw out of, obviously out of, oh man, what's his name from the Eagles?
Saquon.
Yeah, Saquon, and then obviously the year before that, same thing with the Niners and damn man, I'm freaking losing my uh,
Oh,
the
Christian
Niners and
McCaffrey.
Christian
Yeah, yeah,
McCaffrey. Yeah, so you
yeah,
had two guys that really kind of dominated the league those 2 years. They're able to catch balls out of the backfield to kind of be threats in more ways than just carrying the ball. But what you saw from Saquon last year was unbelievable, and I would tell you that I think the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts getting off the way he did was a direct effect of the Chiefs deciding Saquon was not going to beat them.
yeah,
You know, he
for sure.
wasn't going to be the one. So
Um, Here's the thing about this safety group. Billy Bowman is probably the one of the fastest safeties
Yeah,
out there. His RAS score is pretty average. So what that is like his ability to run vertically side to side. But you can see he's got true speed on some of those plays that running backs had broken loose, or a wide receiver is broken loose, and he was able to track him down. Um,
right.
which is extremely valuable. He's super aggressive. He's a willing tackler down in the box. I mean, he's everything you really want. The thing is he with these safeties, like they're getting so multiple where they want them to do so many things
Yeah,
that it's not necessarily going to be a draft grade on him. It's just going to be a scheme fit. Who really likes him
right.
to be able to come down there and play for them down in the box and or single high. A lot of teams are running two safeties right now in a two safety shell.
Well, and
But
he's such a good ball hawk. He
yeah,
seems he's I think he's number two in college football for the last few years in interceptions.
yep,
He led the country last year, his junior year in pick sixes and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, I think that's the thing. And you look at I always looked at comps like, well, you look at Antoine Winfield. I mean, same size.
yep,
People were talking a lot about his size, but you look at Antoine Winfield Jr. and what he does for Tampa Bay, and I think it allows you start looking at what he can do, and I think he's the same type of player, and they had Winfield as what, the number 2 overall safety last year in the league?
yeah, yeah. So he's projected to go third round. I think that's probably going to be the highest Sooner picked. Right now,
You think Billy is?
I think Billy is. Yeah. Just because I think that number one, you don't have an offensive tackle coming out, right?
Yeah.
So
No, we don't.
and guards usually go second or third round, but you don't have a highly touted guard coming out either. So it's like where who's going to be that guy? And I think it's going to be the safety. I think he's projected to go second, third round. I think that's extremely good for a safety.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, what I'm seeing on Draft Buzz, NFLDraftBuzz.com was they have Billy slated to go in the 4th. They have Danny slated to go in the 3rd. But their
it
ratings are really close overall as far as like where they are. Like 83.5 and 84.6. So it's,
yeah.
that they're
I'll
pretty close together. I think Danny's ranked the 85th best player and Billy's like 112.
Yeah. I think just because of the position, I mean, it's really,
Safety's
really
such a
it's really, really hard to tell your GM that you're gonna take a linebacker in the second or third round, unless he's like, we
well,
we just
even
don't.
yeah, I mean, how often are you seeing middle backers going in the first round? It's less and less all the time.
Never, never.
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
very. I think the last one was Anthony Barr, out of UCLA. That was what, 15 years ago? I mean, they have to be generational. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying
Right.
it's one of those things where it's tough
Usually
because
those guys end up being generational because they're like a great value pick. And that's
yeah,
where I was gonna say, I think both of these guys, and I would even tell you that I think Ethan Downs is gonna be a great value pick. No matter whoever gets him and wherever they get him, it's probably gonna be damn good value. Especially if you're able to get Billy in the 3rd, I mean, that's and especially if you get him in the 4th, that's a damn good pick. I don't care who you are.
yeah, for sure. And this safety group is probably one of the deeper safety groups from years past. But safety's not flashy, right? Like, running backs, quarterback. The quarterback class is down.
Yeah.
Offensive tackles are down this year. You saw like 12 taken in the first round last year. I think we're going to have a bunch of offensive tackles taken, but a lot of them are going to have to convert to guard at the next level. On my big board, there's only 4 true offensive tackles.
Right.
And the rest guys are going to be swing guys or bounced around the line. But the safety room is very good. There's a lot of guys with some injury problems that will slide. Like one of the kids out of Notre Dame, Watts. Kid's one of the best players on the field, but he can't stay healthy. There's a lot of good safety potential in this room. It's it's just where is he going to fit? I think it's better for a guy to go in the second or third round, because you're actually getting a team that sees you fitting into their scheme. They've done the research. The first round is kind of like, oh, we have to get this right. You know what I mean? And they'll grasp at straws. They'll stretch to go get AR-15 or whoever just to appease the fan base.
Sure.
Second, third, fourth round, I think is right where you want to be. That's the
Kind of the sweet
majority of.
spot for guys, right? That's kind of the heart and soul of your football team, no matter what,
Yeah,
is that those guys from the second to the fourth,
yeah.
and even sometimes fifth rounders.
There's more starters in the NFL from the second round to the sixth round than there is any first rounds. And there's a lot of players that have gone second to sixth and have very, very good productive. I mean, a lot of your starting running backs, a lot of your starting safeties.
Mhm.
Very few are going in the first round. You think like there's only been a couple like elite first round safeties, and a lot of them has busted. Lewis Seen out of Georgia, you remember how good he was? He's
Yeah.
he's he's a bust. Um,
Right.
he was a but
Yeah,
but it's
I think that a lot of times you start looking at what their measurables are and things like that, and you think of they comp to this guy and blah blah blah. But just like Winfield, I mean, that was we're talking about a guy that he's 5'9", 203.
yeah, out of
You know what I
Minnesota.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just, dude, the guy
More
is just killing it.
I'll say this too, more talent on a team actually hurts you. If you're on a really, really good defense, it actually hurts you. If you're the sole star on a terrible defense, you shine more, because everybody else isn't doing their job very well. There's a cornerback out of FSU. He is extremely good. Nobody's talking about him because
They
they
were
win.
good the last few years on the defensive side.
Well, they had a terrible defense this year, and he's the sole star. That's it. That's all they got. That's all FSU's bringing to the draft. So it's
So,
tough,
right.
But I think where the two Oklahoma defenders are really good at is number one. Brent Venables runs a scheme that you have to be highly intelligent. And I think with those two guys, that you're not getting. I'm not going to say. It's hard to say this. So Georgia runs a extremely basic defense.
Yes,
They
I know.
load up on star power. They run a light box, and they just
A
fly
lot of
around the field.
man-to-man dudes and let them go. Yep.
Yep, yep. Oklahoma's not doing that. They're out scheming you. It's kind of like, when Florida had Dan Mullen and they just out schemed you left and right. Guys streaking down the field. Same with Lane Kiffin, right? He's kind of just an offensive guru where you just have guys streaking down the field all the time. It's the same with the defense. So you got guys like Brian Flores out of Minnesota, and some of these other guys that want to run like real exotic defenses. They're looking for guys like the Oklahoma kids because they know, like, hey, they were asked to do 25 different things, and they excelled in it. Obviously,
Yeah. And Logan Licky says Kenneth Murray went in the first round. He's a middle linebacker. Yeah, and we're not saying it never happens. We're just saying
this
that
is rare.
it's just not as prevalent as what you would see back in the day, and
Yeah.
when you had guys like Brian Urlacher going early in the first and stuff like that. It's just a kind of a different deal. And that's just really the whole thing with it. So yeah, let's see.
Hopefully, you got some offensive linemen coming out next year. That's kind
There
of
will be.
bread and butter. Is you always have a couple
Yeah.
offensive linemen going in. It's like
Well, the
Wisconsin.
next few years, I think you're gonna see more of that the next couple of years, right? Um, where you're gonna see more of that. But welcome into the show, it big cuz from the Grid Iron Insight. What's up, my guy? How you doing?
Man, what's going on, brother? What's going on?
And we in here with the professor talking a little bit about the draft coming up this weekend and where
Oh yeah,
Oklahoma guys are gonna fit in. We talk a little bit about the entirety of the draft, really, but
yeah.
right now we were just kind of locked in on where you're going to see some of these guys go. And like I said, I would say some middle backers. I mean, there's a lot of really good ones out there, and you remember those dudes. But
Yeah.
why do you remember them is because there's fewer and fewer. It's not like back in the day where you get a bunch of those guys and they're going after them. These days, it feels like the guys from defense that are going to go in the first round are generally going to be edge rushers or, interior defensive linemen as well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, offensive linemen along with your skill guys.
Cornerbacks, your elite
Corners,
cornerbacks.
absolutely, corners. Yeah.
Roquan Smith, that's a good one. Just my damn opinion. That kid was, but that kid was a freak. Like that,
Stupid.
that was a generational.
Yeah.
He's kind of a head case too. I think he's like the most penalized linebacker for the Packers. I think he's got kicked out of a couple games. But
He's a baller though, man.
he's
These
a
guys,
baller.
I mean, shit. That's the whole thing. And I think a lot of it's a need thing, but that's the one thing, and we talked about this before in recruiting even, is that middle backers are the toughest to evaluate. That's one of the toughest
They're so
positions
tough.
in sports to evaluate, is whether or not they're going to be able to do that. And the reason that you would think a guy like Danny is going to excel is like what you said. He's been able to perfect a very sophisticated defense that has a lot of crazy different assignments that if you fuck up in, you're gonna throw the entire play off. You give up a big play, and Danny was one of the leading tacklers in the country the last 3 years.
Yeah. Well, and the hardest thing with middle backers is in the NFL, everybody's fast. So can those guys cover? Can those guys cover a angle route by a running back? And you just don't see a
A lot
lot
of
of
these
it.
tight ends too these days are like almost receivers, basically.
Oh, look at the
receivers.
Pitt kid, the kid from Penn State. That guy is a receiver.
Yeah, he was their one and only, pretty much last year. But because what are you up to? What do you think?
Man, I was just kind of piggybacking off a couple things y'all said, man. It's tough. It's tough to grade a linebacker, man. And you got to be able to cover. I mean, from college on to the NFL. I had a couple kids, that one Christian Jernigan, that's Texas A&M. He played for me, and he was like, "Coach, I don't care what they say. You ain't putting no cornerback in my position in 7-on-7. I'm gonna play live, because he wanted to cover, man. That was his big thing. That's why he played 7-on-7 for 4 years, because he wanted to perfect that, being able to, as a linebacker, he could run. He was a four, he was a high 4-4 guy, for a linebacker, but being able to run and being able to move left to right, cover, move your hips and different things like that is a totally different thing. So yeah, man, it's few linebackers that are really, say, hey, that's that guy. But linebackers and running backs, man, they've taken a hit in the draft in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's few and far between that go way up there.
Right.
I'll say this too. You say the hardest to evaluate. I'll tell you one of the easiest though. Cornerbacks. Cornerbacks for me are the easiest to evaluate. Listen,
I would say the same.
I'm gonna say this.
Either you can
This is,
cover or you can't.
you either cover or you can't. And if you're not being asked to go man to man in college, that's questionable. If you're like a straight zone defender, that's like a warning sign. I know guys like Gonzalez have had good careers, but listen, you gotta be able to man up on the best wide receiver out there and hang with them. That's why I'm worried about Travis Hunter being kind of a flash in the pan. He's thin. We know that thin cornerbacks do not work well. I don't know. Like I didn't know where to put him. He's like in a position of his own. He's an athlete. He plays both ways, but he's not the best cornerback in the draft.
I don't think
He's
he
not
is
the
either.
best
And
wide
I think
receiver
that
in the
begs the
draft.
question. Shawty
Is he
said
the-
a bunch of times, is he a more natural fit at receiver for people because of his
I
ability
think he
to
is.
yeah, I mean, and I don't care what people think. I mean, I care what people think, but I'm saying I would tell you that they may be telling you that they're going to let him play 100 snaps a game. They're not going to let him play 100 snaps a game in the NFL.
No.
It's not gonna happen. He might get 5 on defense and special plays, or something like that. But no, they're not going. It's just not going to happen. I mean, and to his credit, he has picked up a little bit of weight. He's not as frail as he was at Colorado, but we haven't seen him play with that weight either. So that that means a lot. I wish him the best, man. He's one of the better athletes I've seen in the last decade, man. He's just one of those. He
Oh,
reminds me of Peter Warwick, back in the day. Peter could have played, anything he wanted to, in my opinion. He was just that talented, man. But yeah, coming to the NFL and taking those licks, man, day in and day out, yeah, it's gonna be tough.
And and
I don't
and
see
my
it.
my thing with him is like, well, if he's not the best wide receiver, he's not the best cornerback. Where do you? He's definitely the best athlete on the field.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's like, so where do you put him? And then so like when I was evaluating, I had to stick him as the. Unfortunately, I had to stick him as 1A number one cornerback on the class because that's where everybody is thinking he's going to go. From a draft perspective, but he's not the number one cornerback. The number one cornerback is the kid out of Texas. That kid lights out good.
yeah,
Aaron,
Yeah.
that
yeah.
kid, that kid's special. That kid's gonna have a
He's
long
the one
career
that
if
won
he
the.
stays
Is he
healthy.
the guy that won the? Oh yeah, what's it? Yeah. The one that was. He won the Thorpe Award and everything
Yeah,
this year. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But you see, so you're trying to. Yeah, I know. It's a OU podcast. Hey, but talent is talent.
No, he's talented, but no, it's not just because he's from Texas. It's because he came in and did a stealth move in the middle of the night and shit, and was outside of the palace and shit like that. Posing with his little trophy.
Oh, I
Whatever.
gotcha.
So,
But yeah, it's one of those things where you see him, and then you see Travis Hunter line up. It's not the same thing. You know what I
mhm.
mean? It's not even close. Um, Plus, they had that kid from Arizona went like 225 yards and like 3 touchdowns on Hunter. That's not a great look. I mean, everybody has a bad game, but it's tough. It's tough to evaluate those guys that play the both sides of the ball. I don't like. I don't know how you even use them at the next level,
Right.
because he's not gonna be able to withstand those licks because you're getting just as many licks on defense as you are on
Brother,
offense.
no doubt, man.
People
Uh,
people for people think that just because you're delivering the blow, like everything's kosher. Like,
Nah,
no, it still hurts.
yeah, it hurts.
mhm.
Your body still aches. So
Yeah.
No doubt. Besides Prime, who else played both ways in the NFL? And he didn't really play both ways all the time.
Um,
He was there's not a ton of guys that really do that, but even Coach Prime,
Edelman when he was young played cornerback and wide receiver, but
yeah, he
not
did.
but not
not
at
at
the
the
same
lick of
time. Not at
no,
the same time.
not at the lick of what Travis Hunter's going to try to do it.
No.
Right. No, nobody's done that. And I mean, you just have even Prime didn't. I mean, you saw what Coach Prime would go in certain situations and play offense when he was
Mhm.
with the Cowboys. It wasn't something that he did all the time. It was a couple of series here and there. I think if you put him in situationally and stuff like that at receiver or vice versa, where you use him as a nickel or something like that, I think that's more likely. Just because of the fact that if you're gonna use the first round draft pick on the guy, you don't want to have his career go 2 or 3 years and that be it. You know what I mean? Because you can't stay healthy because you're getting their ass kicked like that. It's just too much, right?
So here's a fun question for you: Are you guys claiming guys that had went into the portal and was at Oklahoma? I mean, DG being one of them. Is that considered one of your draft picks?
I don't know. Does DG get drafted
Oh, I'm sure.
late? But
Yeah.
he's gonna get drafted. I mean,
Oh,
last year
yeah.
he wasn't
Yeah, he's
really.
gonna get drafted from what it's gonna be late, but he's gonna go. He has some great
Yeah, hey
interviews.
man, I don't. We shoot no errant shots at DG in here.
Nah, not.
I'm a fan of Dylan Gabriel.
I mean, Dylan Gabriel has came back to Oklahoma since being in
Yeah,
Oregon, hanging out with the guys right here right in Oklahoma. So man,
that's right.
he got his degree from here, and he made a business decision, which nobody's mad at him about that. You know,
Right. Yeah, no, and I mean, well, the truth, like, we can be honest about it. He wasn't going to start probably at Oklahoma. And I mean, we railed against this. We said that it was something that they should have kept him around, and turns out we were right. They should have kept his ass around, because Jackson wasn't ready. He just wasn't ready,
Well,
and
it was either keep him or lose Jackson. That's kind of
you
how
would
it
have lost
was.
Jackson a year ago,
And
and they were not okay with that. They were not okay.
hindsight's 50-50, right? So you can't lose the I think Jackson was like a 4 or 5-star quarterback,
Well,
right? You don't wanna
he
lose
was a
that.
5-star plus guy, yeah,
Yeah, you don't wanna lose that guy, and
right.
then it comes out that, uh, wasn't very good when the lights turned on.
Well,
Mhm.
listen, I mean, we found that out. So it's, I mean, things happen for the reasons that they happen for or whatever. But
Mhm.
as far as like we were saying, I know our show was one of the ones saying, this is your first year in the SEC. You probably want to have a guy with a little more experience. You know what I mean? You should bring him back. And I think that to some extent, Venables wanted to bring him back. He didn't really get the opportunity. And I think part of that was it wasn't gonna be well, he didn't give him the opportunity even really, and I think part of that was he felt like he knew he didn't want to lose the job to Jackson, and he was going to go get more money at Oregon. I mean, who blames him?
Oh,
Who
yeah,
can blame
man.
him?
You can't blame him. Then his guy had left. Levy had left. So man, it was just a situation that at the time both parties thought it was best for each other. You know,
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
knowing not knowing what was going to happen, but both parties thought, hey,
What
look,
do you
in a good
what do you
space.
think what do you think your record is if you had DG last year? How many games more do you win?
I say we win 8.
Yeah, probably wouldn't. I mean, there was 4 games that could have you could have won 4
But then do
games.
you win the Bama game? I mean, it's like a trade-off.
I don't know. Well, I don't think that it would have changed. I think that if Hawkins plays, we win 2 more games too. Instead of who playing JA in those situations. The Missouri game, you're winning with 2 minutes left and losing in regulation.
You
You know
beat
what I mean?
you beat
So
no miss at the half.
yeah, beat Ole Miss at the half. You know it. I don't blame it on anybody as far as the South Carolina game. You had a terrible game plan where you in the first 5 minutes you had a tight end that's not a blocking tight end even one on one with all American edge guys. Your linemen are pinching in on these plays, and you've got them one on one. And we're not talking about chipping; we're talking one on one with
Blocking
fucking all Americans. And Hawkins getting killed or getting rid of the ball, and
a little bit
those turned
different.
into bad deals. But in the end, aside from those first few minutes, once they settled in and fixed that part, then they played pretty well and actually outplayed South Carolina the rest of the way. They were already down 21-0 though.
Yeah.
5 minutes in, you're down 21-0. You're not winning that game. But then those 2 games, you're talking Ole Miss and Missouri, you could have won. And should have won at least the Missouri game, if nothing else. Obviously, you should have won the Navy game. But so I think even if you think there's 4 games that Tennessee, had it not been for Jackson pissing down both legs in that game, they probably win because they had turned Tennessee over in their own territory once inside the 10, and immediately he gives the ball back in the first
Oh,
half. And that would have changed the whole tide of the game had Michael just went in earlier. It would have changed the whole tide of the game there. So they very easily could have won at least 4 more games. Let's say you win 2 more, there's 8. With Dylan, I mean, maybe you don't beat Alabama. I don't know. But
my,
I think
my,
that the
my
reason that you beat Alabama was defense, though. And
yeah,
you
yeah.
shut Milrow down.
Well, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. You take the game against what we just saying, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Man, we was down 21-0 before what, first quarter.
And
That
how
that
many
was
times did we
that was
score 21 fucking points in this season?
yeah, but for the Alabama game, I think the defense was just so on point that game and was just so
Wouldn't
hyped
have
for that
mattered.
game. It wouldn't have mattered because the offense didn't do a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, they did some, but they didn't. I mean, they didn't do a whole lot. The running that he did in that game, I've seen DG do the same thing, man.
Fair,
So
and I mean, this is why I said if Hawkins goes in, those 2 long runs that Jackson had, and he only threw the ball 10 times in that game.
Mhm.
Those 2 long 20-yard plus runs that he had, Hawkins is in the end zone on both of them.
Yeah.
Those are 2 more touchdowns, but I would say that, yeah, DG could run. I mean, DG had games where he had 100 yards rushing.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it would have been the same. The Tennessee game, DG would have handled that a whole lot
They'd have
better.
won the game.
They'd have won that game. They would. We only lost by 10. You
Right.
had the Ole Miss game where you had the lead in that
They'd have
game.
won that game.
And,
Yeah.
that was a big possibility. Don't forget the Mizzou game. And then check this out. We was up on LSU in the second quarter and we came apart.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
once
that that's
Nussmeier got that shot heard around,
oh yeah. But
whatever
what
it
I'm
was
saying,
they gave his ass, boy, he came out looking like a
New
new dude.
but we
Yeah.
couldn't put any points on the board. We couldn't hold the ball. We was 3 and out. So we gave them a lot of time to do different things and score. So and then the Navy game, I don't even want to talk about that. But I see a
Terrible game
definitely,
plan.
yeah, I see definitely 2 more wins, which would have gave us 8.
Right, and
Without a
even I mean, yeah, I mean, we're talking about 5 games right there. We just talked about 5 different games that theoretically you coulda won. Now, you didn't, so it doesn't matter,
Mhm.
but yeah, I feel like you would have won at least 2 more out of those games had you
yeah,
had even Hawkins in. So you figure a guy like Dylan, who's got the experience that he has, is gonna probably win at least 2 of those,
Yeah,
you
I'll
know?
say this too with DG, it's good. For as bad as the transfer portal is, there is some highlights to it. Number one, he went from a Jeff Levy offense to a completely different NFL style pro offense and Will Stein. That a lot of what he does with the dink and dunk. I mean, they take shot plays, but it's a lot of dink and dunk play action stuff.
Which was better for him because he doesn't have the biggest arm in the world.
Yeah, but he ran that offense perfectly for
Dude,
weeks
Will
on
Stein's a
end.
bad dude. That's who I wanted to be the OC. I wanted him to go and pay whatever amount of money to get his ass.
And for DG's draft evaluation, you say, okay, he ran a pro style offense efficiently, extremely efficiently. They won how many games? Minus Jesus and the disciples themselves coming and playing Ohio State, nobody was beating them because they were just on another level, right? They peaked
yeah,
at the right time. I mean,
right.
that is just offense, defense, special teams. You couldn't beat them. Um, and he was throwing to NFL caliber receivers and with a NFL caliber back and Jordan James. And when you put all that together, you say, well, obviously he can run an NFL style offense to an NFL level. So
Yeah,
I
I
I,
mean,
I think he's probably going to be a guy, a journeyman, probably a journeyman backup. Which don't get it twisted is still making
oh, dude,
millions of dollars.
bro,
So good for him.
if you can make it through that initial 4 years, 5 years with, and the problem is what happens if you're not one of those guys that I don't know that those dudes exist as much anymore, that
Mhm.
they last forever. It replenishes, but like you're talking about Chase Daniels, somebody like that. They last for 15, 20 years or whatever because he can
Yeah.
just hang around.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know because of that rookie deal and all that kind of stuff. It's like Landry Jones. Landry Jones has still got one of the best arms of anybody in the world. But because of the fact that it costs you so much more money to have a quarterback in there, even it doesn't really matter what kind of quarterback you are. When you're out of your rookie deal, quarterbacks slot up to where you got to pay them X amount of money to have them. I mean, like Geno Smith, like, can you imagine? It amazed me that he went to the Raiders too. Why that guy is all of a sudden getting starting starting stuff is kind of beyond me. But it costs so much, so it's hard to do that. But so yeah, I mean, but I think that the thing about Dylan Gabriel is that he's a gamer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just a gamer. He's smart. And you get the right thing going on, and he understands that. Yeah, he can go through, and he's not going to be a starter probably ever. You know what I mean? I don't really look at him being a starter, but I could see him as a career backup for sure.
Yeah. And sometimes those career backups they get to positions like with some really good offensive minds, like the 49ers, the Rams, the
Absolutely.
Vikings, anybody from that Shanahan tree slash McVay tree, and they're
Yeah,
like quarterback
or
whisperers.
Andy, or
Yeah,
same
or
with Andy.
Andy.
I mean, look at he
Yeah.
had what was old dude's name from Michigan that was he's older than shit, and he starts that game in place of Mahomes,
Mhm.
and they beat Cleveland that year with Baker and them, and here he'd been around forever. Shit, I forgot that he was even in the league at that point. You know what I mean? I'm trying to remember his name. It's damn. One of the last guys that from Michigan that had been had been in the pros for a long time as far as quarterbacks until they sent what's his name last year. But yeah, man, I think that Dylan, yeah, I look at him as one of those guys too. I guess you could look at some of the other dudes. I guess I don't know where I see Theo Weiss ending up if he gets drafted or not. His size probably gets him drafted third or fourth round. I don't really see him as a electric guy or anything like that. He's certainly not the 5-star he was labeled as whenever he came out of high school. But he's serviceable. I think that his size is going to allow him, if he can stay healthy, that he's gonna probably be in the league for a while. But yeah, man, I think this year it's an anomaly year as far as that. I think that as far as the offensive linemen are concerned, Chad Henne is who I was talking about. Thank you, Cole. Offensive linemen in the next few years, the guys that'll be coming out, you've got some dudes that are going to be unbelievable, and obviously because he's got one of them, and he's obviously a freshman, a redshirt freshman coming into this season, but we're talking about 6'7", 320-pound
You don't
offensive
build them like
tackle.
that everywhere.
Yeah, they'll take them everywhere. They'll take them everywhere too.
Those guys aren't built. Those guys aren't just coming off trees. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. You're right, Shawty. DG has a lot of experience. I mean, yeah, he's broken a lot of the college records because of how long he's been in college.
Mm-hmm.
And his ability to he's just a heady guy, man. Some of them quarterbacks are just those dudes that they're just really good at doing the right things, Johnny Boy says J.A. played damn good for the opposing team. He did. I still tell you, I don't know that we end up seeing him week 4. I don't know that we do.
You don't think he makes a resurgence?
Well, no, I don't. And the reason is because we've heard a lot about Deuce Knight out of Auburn camp, and what we've heard about Jackson is that he's still turning the ball over. I talked about this last week. The dude, and he was talking some dumb shit about saying that, hey, we go 3-0 in first 3 weeks, and I have a bad first half, and they pull me out. How it wasn't fair, bro. In your 11 games from the bowl game on, you had 12 turnovers.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing: Hugh Freeze isn't in the position to have another bad season.
He's not. And look, Deuce Knight, man, he's electric.
Yeah, he's good.
Type of guy, right? So if you're gonna have that, and even if you're gonna have not the best season in the world, like say you got to get to 8 wins or whatever, maybe 8 or 9 wins, and it's not looking good early, you got to go out on your sword with the quarterback. You got just kind of like think about Billy last year. It got to a point where put DJ in, because if he doesn't show you that it matters that he comes back next year, you may be fucked if you're Billy there.
Yeah, you probably aren't coaching for the University of Florida,
right?
If DJ Lagway didn't come out and look like what he did, there's a lot of people saying that Billy Napier no longer has a job there. But
well, you guys were calling. I remember you guys expecting him to get fired. What
week 4,
week 4 or 5?
Yeah.
And there were people calling for him to be fired week 4 or 5. I mean, I remember all that shit. And then
there was people calling after the Miami to Tabasco week 1.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, you can't lose your ass like that in the swamp to Miami, and it go. I mean, but you also saw, and I don't think it was just DJ Lagway. I think a lot of it was that fucking defense is really good.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That defense is really good, but DJ showed that, hey man, I can do some things that could turn this thing around. I think Florida, kind of like Oklahoma, I think Florida can do things that not many people are expecting much out of them this year. I think that they're a surprise team in the SEC.
Yeah.
I don't know what the win percentage is for Florida. I think it was like 4 wins or 5 wins. Bet the house. Bet the house if it's 5 or less wins, because we've already played the schedule. We've done it. We played the hardest schedule in college football
Correct.
with a true freshman at the helm for most of it. He's
And
6
that's how you spell Lagway there, Shawty? Damn.
That's crazy.
He's won every game that he has started and finished. I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah.
And the wide receiver core and the running back core, is absolutely filthy.
Well, that's what Billy does really well, is call games, though. I mean, he's a good offensive coordinator. He's been one of the best offensive coordinators in the country, or best offensive minds in the country, for 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah, they this is my thing with people saying like Billy's offense isn't flashy. It's not. I mean, it's not Lane Kiffin. It's not flashy.
Who cares?
But
It doesn't need to be.
But it's like Novocaine. It just works. You know, when that thing starts getting on a rhythm, I mean, it gets going. They start running the ball, and then they start taking shots with play action. It's hard. It's hard to beat. Now I'm telling you, when I talked to Billy Napier at the spring game,
What did you say?
like Novocaine, baby, it just works. When I talked to Billy Napier, which pretty cool, real quick, knew who I was. Walk up, I go to get his autograph for my son after DJs. We get right on the field.
This is great stuff.
And so I walk up, I go shake his hand. I said, "Hey," I said, "I'm Cody." And he goes, "From High Top Sports, the professor. We watch the show. We love it. You guys are doing it the right way.
Yeah.
We absolutely love everything you guys are doing. Keep on."
Dude, that was killer, man. When you told me about that, I was like, damn, that's
I was
badass.
just, I'm like starstruck for a second.
There's some guys that aren't, the people that watch your guys' show can be awful about Billy.
Yeah.
So when you said that, but the one thing is you guys don't partake in that as much, right?
No.
You just don't, and you can't, you can't, if you ever want any kind of access whatsoever, you cannot do that. Just destroying these guys like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And y'all didn't really even do it after, whenever everybody else was calling for his job. You guys felt like he was probably gone.
Yeah.
Until he wasn't.
Yep.
Right.
Well, there was always a glimmer of hope, right? You saw flashes of greatness, and you're like, okay, this is what it's supposed to look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, I asked him. I said, "Hey,"
because said early last year that he wasn't going nowhere. He said it early last year.
Yeah.
No, he ain't going nowhere.
He's not going anywhere. I mean, I like Nate, man. He does a great job, man. To me, I know there's been some bumps in the road, but man, this college football is
changing.
Trust me, it's changing every day.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to. A lot of people put pressure on the kids, but they don't know where the pressure's coming from the kids. A lot of different things going on, man. And like I say, I'm rooting for, my son's at Oklahoma, but I got a couple kids that, came through our system. The big tight end, Michael Jones.
Mm-hmm.
He came through our system, man, in FBU. And it's another kid, it's a running back from right down the street. I think he's over in Florida, man. So Florida came and got a couple kids out of Mississippi, man, so of course, I remember back when Shane and all them played, all of us about the same age. Speaking of quarterbacks, Shane stayed in the NFL. Shane stayed in the league. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that kid's gonna be special.
Yeah, and man, Shane stayed in the league about 100 years.
Yeah.
I mean, he was cool with holding a clipboard. He made a lot of money, man, doing it. So
I'll say this. So after he signed my son's thing, I asked him. I said, "So that wide receiver room?" He goes, "Best I've ever had anywhere."
Wow.
The same guy that was a wide receiver coach for Alabama in their heyday. He goes, "This is the best wide receiver room I've ever had."
Well, and
anywhere.
he was also at Clemson during their heyday with wide receivers too.
Yeah,
Dang, that's saying a lot.
It is.
Man,
yeah,
Florida is one of those teams that, man, I think them in Oklahoma with the mystery meat. You know that cafeteria meat. You know, you
yeah.
go and you don't know what it
Sloppy
is.
Joe.
Yeah, we the mystery meat of the SEC right now, man. Nobody knows exactly what Oklahoma's going to bring. They know they're going to be better
Yeah.
because of the additions and everything, but no one knows exactly what to expect. So everybody's waiting for that Michigan game to put the needle, on
Well, and I
OU.
think that you look at these schedules, and Florida and Oklahoma are 1 and 2,
God,
in strength of schedule. So, you could have a really good. I mean, I think that people are talking about you got to get to 8, you got to get to this, whatever, to save his job. We've talked about it. That I don't agree with that. I think that if you're not worse than you were last year, he probably saves his job just because of the amount of money. They're not willing to dump that kind of money on a coach that isn't coaching anymore. But that being said, I think if you get to 8, depending on how the rest of it goes, I don't know that you could call that a bad season with these schedules. Either one of them. Right?
here's the thing too. Everybody is so excited to fire a coach.
Yeah.
Guys, your
It
roster
sets
gets
you back.
absolutely picked apart. The power
Yeah.
line, that's gone. The best wide receiver core that Florida's ever had, that shit's gone. The all the DBs that you guys have brought in, gone. Offensive linemen, gone. You are going to set yourself back another 4 years if you're firing a coach.
And even with the portal the way it is, yeah, you can reload and maybe get
Maybe.
back to it at the
Maybe.
end of year 2
Or
or
you go
whatever,
2 and
but you
10.
may not either, not in the SEC. It's tough. It's tough, no doubt about it. No
People
doubt.
are working now to retain their players, so it's going to be tough. I'm not saying you're going to get 1 or 2 here, but a brand new coach coming
Yeah.
into the SEC to a team, man, right now that's murderer's road the way that things are set up. You used to could fire a coach after 3 years if he didn't do any good. I mean, if it didn't work out. But now
Mhm.
you gotta pay his contract. You got his coaches that are pretty damn good. They're gonna be gone. Your best players are gonna be gone. You got to replenish a staff, and you got to pay this other coach. And man, it's just too much now. Now you guys still got to pay players. Now you got to pay more money because some of the players that you want to
Already
keep is
paid.
gone. Yeah, I've already paid has left.
Mhm.
So I mean, firing a coach in 2025 is not the same as firing a coach in 2019.
FSU didn't fire Norvell after last year, and they had all the right to.
No, they fired the rest of them. They just didn't
They
fire
did
him. I mean, they got rid of all kinds of assistants and they
Yeah,
had to get
because they didn't have contracts that they had to buy out.
right,
63 million is his
Right.
buyout this year.
right, and
He, he he
that's
will be
tough.
there after this year too, bro. Because they're
Yep.
not gonna pay that kind of money.
Eh, yeah, and I don't know where that ends up making. I think Norvell does a good job of recruiting, but the thing is they got so heavily reliant on the portal, and we talked about this a ton. Is that there's got to be a balance, man.
High school kids
And
don't want to go there. They're
right.
scared.
Well, here's the thing. It's what we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and actually, me and Dent argued about this shit. But the problem is that if you don't give any of these guys that you're developing time on the field, and they know that they have no, and that's what happened with Florida State was they were using so many portal guys and they were bringing them in and having them start over guys that were expecting to get their opportunities, that they started losing a lot of what they had built. As far as they talk about how great their culture is in the locker room. I don't agree with that. I think it's opposite of great. I think it's terrible
No.
Yeah.
because of the fact that you just had a hard time with that. And those kids didn't believe what you were telling them. They didn't
No.
believe what you were telling them anymore.
Yeah, we had a really good relationship with Florida State
Yeah.
and Norvell and Coach Atkins, who was the offensive coordinator. And you could tell when we were over there just a year ago, the athletes that they had that were playing, guys, they look like, I mean, they really look good, man. But the fall back behind them, you can look at the bodies. They just didn't look like top tier
They didn't
athletes.
look like Jared Verse. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like it was one in their twos were way down.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, that's what it. I saw that, and I said to I was telling my brother-in-law who was with me. I said, man, you know, that's cool, but I just don't think they can withstand, you know, that kind of pressure every year in the portal, not with people retaining their players. Look at Ole Miss. Let's Ole Miss for a perfect example. Ole Miss built that team last year for the playoffs. It didn't happen for them.
Yep.
So here's the deal. Do you think donors want to do the same thing and it didn't happen for you again? And you're not going to find another Walter Nolan in the portal. Trey Harris. You're not going to get stacked like they did that one year when they went all in, spent 15 million and went all in and it didn't work for them. So now what do we do we know what Ole Miss is going to be? No, we don't know.
Well,
You said
they got a young quarterback that's good, but he's young.
he's young. And look, we had a young quarterback we thought was really good until you have to go out there and handle everything yourself. Yeah, he came in a Georgia game and looked really good. So Jackson Arnold did the same thing when he
Wait,
came in for BG.
wait till they get tape on him.
Right. Once they get tape on you and they know your tendencies and everything, that whole entire thing changes.
Yep.
So a lot of people's, well, Ole Miss. I don't think Ole Miss win maybe 8 games this year, and that's a maybe.
Yeah, it's gonna be that's the thing about the SEC is there's gonna be a drop off this year. You don't have the horses at quarterback. You have talent other places, but it's a hodgepodge year of anybody can really win it. I
Hey
mean,
man, I love to see
even
OU in Florida and
I mean, think about
in Atlanta, bro.
look at Georgia. They don't have running backs right now, which is wild to even say. Did you ever think the University of Georgia would not have running backs at a top
Correct.
tier?
Well, they have a running back. I like their
I,
starter. He looks good. But
yeah, but what's behind him? You can't run that guy
well, you
400,
don't know. You don't know what's
400,
behind him,
500
right?
snaps.
Well,
True.
it was a kid from Mississippi that went over there, Robinson. I think he hurt his knee or something like that.
Yep.
Man, he
Yep.
hasn't been the same either. You know, but hey, you never know. I was talking. Me and Jason was just talking about returning quarterbacks. You got Sellers, you got Nussmeier, but you got your kid down there in Florida. But I'll say this, what Arbuckle, his offense and Mateer coming over. Yeah, he didn't play at this team last year, but he's an experienced quarterback.
For sure.
He's with his he is still with his offense coordinator. So, that's why I kind of tell some people like, look, we're going to be better on offense. We're going to bust the scoreboard. I'm not saying that, but we're definitely going to be a lot better than we. If we're in the top 30, we win 9, 10 ball games offensively. We was like what 115 or something like that last year. Horrible. So if we just make that jump to 30 and we average 32 points a game with the defense that we have, oh man, it's gonna be something to see. It's gonna be definitely something to see.
You-
Like I said, that the telltale game be Michigan. Michigan will be ready. You look how they played at the end of the year last year. So that'll be a big ball game. I think that's a game the whole country will be looking at. You know, okay, Oklahoma, you did all this.
They did bring in
Bringing
Josh
in,
McCray. Jen is talking about though. Yeah.
it did.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
not you.
Illinois transfer.
When's when's the last time Georgia had to go get a transfer running back? Like they just usually just get those
Oh
guys.
yeah, they normally in the stable.
Yeah. Usually there's guys transferring out because they can't get touches.
Yeah, and Georgia, I mean, they homegrown, a lot of homegrown running backs there, man. You know.
Mhm. All right, guys, I gotta get back to some draft stuff. So
Oh, okay.
my
That
bad.
sounds good. No, it's all good. It's all good.
I'll let
Um,
I'll let Mr. Boganowski get
oh
in.
well, we appreciate you coming in, man, and tell everybody how to find you real quick though.
I'm Twitter high top professor, and then just high top sports recruiting.
Right on, man. Well, we appreciate you coming in, my guy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Later, bro.
We'll see it.
Coming in to take his place, Big Mike Boganowski. What's up, my guy?
What up?
Good to see you.
What's up with you, bro?
Out here making moves.
Out
Yeah,
here making moves, taking
Not
care of my
I'm,
business.
I'm lying. I ain't making no moves.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
out there playing with them turkeys. That's what he doing.
No, I didn't. I gave him a break today. I gave him a break, man.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be had some bad weather, but it's sunny out there right now, so I don't know what the hell going on. Damn weather, man.
Hey, Shawty, there ain't no doubt there's no love for you guys, just like you ain't got no love for them Gators either. So I feel you, bro. I feel you, man. If we can have a top 30 offense, I bet we make it to the playoffs with that schedule. Yeah, listen, I think that if everything goes correctly, I think and I'm glad we're gonna have this discussion because we talked about it a lot, and I would say the same thing for Florida. Florida has an opportunity with that defense that they got, same type of deal. They're really good up front. They're, and they've got a hell of a quarterback and receiving core as well. We'll kind of see how that goes with them. They've got the same type of schedule, brutal. You know what I mean? Oklahoma, I think top 30 is offensively. I feel like if you're healthy, you should be able to do that easily, right? Now, do you have the guys on the defensive side of the ball take the next step forward? Because we're talking about these guys that are getting drafted this weekend. Billy Bowman, Danny Stutsman, Ethan Downs. These were the heart and soul of your defenses for the last 3 years. And even, it's just been, and now you lose a lot of that leadership and stuff. Now, I think there's some guys that are easily as talented, some of them more talented now moving forward, but you still have to take another step up, And so making the assumption, and so when you do that, let's just make the assumption that they do take that step forward and you do become one of the top defenses in the country and certainly top defenses in the SEC. Now you're going to get in some of these close games and you have to progress and win those games, not lose them at the end, right? I think that's the question. It's not about necessarily that your offense is scoring X amount of points. I think you have to score X amount of points at the right damn times.
I agree with that. Yep, that's something we did not do last year. Yeah, defense give you the ball on the 5-yard line within the 10. You need to get points out of it. You don't need to turn
Damn
it back
straight.
over. You know,
Damn straight.
those are gimmies, man, that we didn't even pick up on last year. That would have made us a whole lot better. But hey, look, it is what it is right now. When it comes down to those type things, I think Florida and OU could end up in the damn championship game. Can't I
That
mean
would
they
be
don't.
saying a lot considering they have the two top schedule
That's
difficulties in the country.
right, exactly. But you will have the best two teams if that happened. That's for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But like I say, I think OU and Florida is kind of mirror each other, man. Especially when it comes to the things that are going on. I think Florida right now with their quarterback, he's proven in the SEC. Not saying Material can't do it, or I feel like he will. And I said a couple times on your show that I feel like he's a special kid. But you got a guy, down there in Florida that like he's done it, you know,
Yeah.
and so this is his second go around. So sometimes that second go around, man, he done seen a lot of different things, and that's gonna make it difficult on a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody want to talk about some of these top teams, man. But dude, when you got to replace a quarterback, man, you everything is different when those lights are cut on. When you got to replace a quarterback,
No doubt about it. And I think that's where you kind of come. I was watching Josh Pate last night and a little bit anyway, whenever I was headed back from taking care of that stuff for my mom. But he was talking about how a year ago at this time he was in Miami and he got a chance to see Cam Ward a week after he got to town, right? And how he's out there kind of dog cussing everybody and just what a general's supposed to be like right away as a quarterback, right? Now, mind you, he came from Washington State and from Ben Arbuckle, and he immediately steps in and was able to show leadership. We heard the same kind of thing about Mateer. It didn't take him long to speak up and to become, he was unequivocally kind of came in and became the leader of that offense, right? I
I'd
don't
say
think
that.
that I don't think that he has to be a Heisman winner for them to be very good on offense. You know, I think the chances are he's going to be in the Heisman discussion if they are anywhere close to what we think they might be, right? I just think that you kind of would, because if they get to that nine win spot, I think there's no two ways around it. You have to have discussion about somebody is a Heisman winner off this offense because they would have to have done something. Big
Oh,
Mike.
Yeah. Hold on. My dog out there acting a fool. Making sure he ain't disturbing people. But yeah, man, listen, like there's an inherent leadership ability, or not even ability, but a leadership aspect that is expected as the quarterback, right? And whether you want to be that leader or not, they're gonna put you they're gonna put you in that lead. They're gonna put you in that role, right? You're gonna have some responsibilities, and that's why quarterback's not for everybody, man. You're obviously you take a lot of the blame and you take a lot of the credit, man. So I mean, it takes like everybody. Quarterbacks are special kind of dudes, right?
yeah,
Um, when you're
definitely.
talking about that kind of stuff, and everybody wants to talk to the quarterback. Everybody knows the quarterback. Quarterback get all the girls. Quarterback is the big man on campus. Quarterback, 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 quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, this says a lot about how you know our quarterbacks are dealing with this. Just being the big man at a big school like Oklahoma. And I think Mateer's done a good job. He's doing all the right things, saying all the right stuff. Going to the events. They're. But like again, like what is he supposed to do? Like pull a Nico and like not call his dad and not go to the stuff? You know what I mean? Like what is he supposed to do? Like you're trying to do what's best for you, do what's best for the university, and all that stuff, man. Like
Hmm.
I mean, he got to do that, man. It sounds like he's doing a good job of it. And at the end of the day, bro, come holler at me in August, September.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the main thing, man. August and September. I tell people here in Mississippi they talking about the young guy over at Ole Miss, and man, he's a good looking kid, but he still hadn't played in the SEC as a starter, and people don't have film on him. Once they get film on him, then then you can say, okay, this kid is legit. About that fourth, fifth game when they got film on him, and he's putting up some rocket numbers, then I give it to him. But coaches take a little bit of time to get film on you, and they can figure you out really,
Well,
really well.
yeah, dude, Michigan may come ready.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
Michigan
They
gonna
got,
come ready.
they
They gonna
they
come
got,
ready, bro.
yeah, they got. There's plenty of tape out there, Arbuckle and offense and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
won't have
And
any film on their quarterback either. That's a good call.
Yeah, so that's gonna be one of our biggest things when we play Michigan. What is this kid capabilities? What are his capabilities? I know he got a plenty of them, but what
yeah,
what are they gonna use as their bread and butter against our defense? Knowing what our defense does, knowing that Coach BV is gonna be physical, and they know the blitz is coming. You got a young quarterback, and you got Brent on the other side, oh, he finna see all kind of shit.
oh, he finna test him.
Yeah, he
You know
gonna
what I mean?
test him. So
He gonna give him a little pop quiz at the
He's gonna
beginning of
put
the
him in a
day.
blender for sure. That's
yeah,
what his job
I
is.
don't even think he's gonna put him in a blender right away. He's gonna gradually work his way up, right? He's gonna have a couple quizzes early, see how he handles it, and depending on how he handles it, either we turn it up or hey, he can't handle this right here, so let's keep doing it. You know what I mean? BB ain't gonna pull everything out of his bag against Michigan in the first game, especially against a freshman quarterback. You know what I mean? Like BB's gonna
He gonna
BB's
make
gonna
him uncomfortable though. I can tell you that.
oh yeah, he's gonna
Make him
apply
very
the
uncomfortable.
proper amount of pressure. Like he's not just gonna throw it all out on the table week 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna run a lot of our base stuff and like, hey, what can you do? Can you stop us? You know what I mean? Can you can you beat what we're doing on offense?
He,
And
he,
if
he,
they
he-
do, they start having success. All right, we're gonna turn it up a notch. And
well,
he's just gonna keep appropriately turning it up or turning it down, depending on how the game go.
one thing that I do know, I know they're not a conference win. I mean, they're not a conference, team, but we need that. We need that Big Ten win. Let's just say, let's say for hindsight, we do go 9-3, and we have a win over a Michigan team that went to their championship or won the Big Ten. That win will mean a lot. So I think that win over Michigan is just as important as a win over Texas to me, because we got to have that, because you just don't know how it's going to shake out down the line. Now I'm not saying he's going to throw all his shit at them, but I guarantee you that's going to be a game that they're not going to leave a stone unturned to win. They're going to do everything they can to win that one because they
Oh,
need that win.
yeah, yeah, for sure. We need every win.
Yeah.
Every shit. We shit. We can't afford to just we need everyone. We need every
Shit.
one of them things.
We need to be rolling on all accounts, man, when it comes to them. And like I said, man, I looked at the schedule the other day. Yeah, it's tough, but man, we hit some things. I think we hit a couple of games right in stride. I know the Alabama game is at who is that now?
No, Chris E. I'm gonna get to that. Go ahead and finish this.
But
My bad,
but
man.
I know the Alabama game, it's on their home. It's their homecoming, but man, nobody knows what Alabama is. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were, last year. I think the quarterback play will be a little bit better. But guess what? Everybody has got a year of looking at his stuff too. So the defense is going to be a little different, for Alabama to looking at this year. But yeah, man, I like I say, I think we get that Michigan game, man. I think that set the tone for the whole year. I
Mm-hmm.
really do. I think that's a tone setting game. You talking about a team that beat Ohio State, and you beat them here, man. I mean, it set the tone for sure.
Yeah.
Now, what you
So
was somebody in the chat?
Chris E. Bryce will be tested already by Michigan blitz defense simulation before facing OU. Right now, I don't disagree. He's gonna
Yeah,
see some looks, but they ain't teeing off on his ass like they will be able to when he play OU. Two different things.
I mean
Listen.
that's
I'm gonna
practice.
compare. I'm gonna compare this. I'm gonna compare this to a quarterback that's now starting for a fighting job at Auburn. Same thing happened last year. Had all these simulated blitzes, looked decent. Some people say it rattled him. Come game time, nah. Homie was not the same. Did not look like that. Couldn't keep his eyes downfield. Just immediately taking off if it ain't there right away. Dude, let me tell you something. You can simulate all you want. And that's why I've been on here an advocate for quarterbacks getting hit in scrimmages. Like we can't be letting these quarterbacks not get a look. Everybody else is getting a look except the quarterback. Quarterback ain't threatening to get hit. Quarterback ain't threatening to get tackled. And I feel like you're just putting them at a disadvantage, man. And Michigan can blitz them all they want. They just gonna run right by him and not hit him, and he gonna stand tall in the pocket and just deliver that ball because he knows ain't nobody gonna hit him. Let's see what happened at beginning of September.
When they put that thump on you, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, put that thump on you, and son, when you hit that ground.
See what happened when you got guys screaming off the edge, pressure up in your face. You know what I mean? We're gonna see what happened then. You know what I
It's
mean?
gonna be a
But
different. It's gonna be a different story. That for dang ain't sure now.
Yeah.
That's something that
Mm-hmm.
fans are like, I get it. You think of all the things that could happen, but man, look, these guys go through practices with their homeboys, with their boys. It's not like that you lining up over across from somebody else. Yeah, you have some good hard scrimmages. You have some good tough scrimmages, but ain't nothing like with them lights on in the SEC. That's totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Totally
Mm-hmm.
different. And they
Yeah.
can't simulate, up there in Michigan, they can't simulate the palace. They can't do
Nah.
it.
And
you
we're
know.
hey, we're coming in waves, bro. We're coming
Oh
in
yeah.
waves.
So, yeah. Chris
And we're
E.
deep. We're deeper than usual, than
Oh yeah.
most.
Oh
We
yeah, man.
coming with waves, homie. You
Needed to
sub
Chrissy to come
hey,
in here, and the first thing he says is something fucking stupid.
bro, it's not stupid. It's not stupid. It's not stupid. It just doesn't
I
fly.
had to come in and say it because y'all were disagreeing with what he was saying, and I've been telling him everything he says the first time he
Yeah.
comes done.
It's not stupid. It's just a difference, right?
There is a
Like,
difference. There's a big
yeah,
difference.
it's not,
Right,
it's not even nerves. Like having some dude run through your face
right.
when you like this and open and exposed, like that's different. I don't know if you ever played quarterback, but like when you're falling through or somebody come
Oh
up in
yeah.
here and hit you like that, it's different, dude. I can get tackled and hit all day. I played quarterback 1 year, bro, my 8th grade year. Now, fuck that. Not doing it no more, bro. Motherfucker had the gas one. I'm pretty sure I got my first concussion, bro. I'm sitting there, there's a boom. I got blasted. I'm like, damn, I got up, and the kid come running in the play, and the kid was like, da 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 da. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is that? Like, what am I doing? What? Tell me what to do. I had no
Dude,
idea what was going on, bro. 8th grade. Got
hey,
black. Shut it
hey,
down after that, bro. You can keep all that bullshit.
I played quarterback all the way up until the 8th grade. And
Mm-mm.
the reason why I didn't play after the 8th grade, because they said my ass was too big. You know, um, in the 6th grade, I had to move to tight end because I weighed over. I was 2 pounds over the weight limit. You
Yeah.
know, might have been that cheeseburger or something I ate before I went and weighed in or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Got
hey,
to take
bro,
that dump.
hey, look, I actually quit
Hey,
playing
hey,
football because
Marcus
I
the
couldn't play.
Little don't be like 5 pounds for real, for real.
Yeah,
Just get in there, fart, lose 2 pounds.
and my coach was like 2 pounds, and like you couldn't weigh in again, man, until like mid season, and I was like, if I can't play quarterback, I'm done. And guess what, man? This is crazy now. I was a Jamel Holloway fan, bro.
I don't believe it. Oh, I like to say I
Hey,
was a Jamel Holloway type quarterback. Nope,
hey,
don't forget.
I
You
was
ain't
that
here
dude
coming
too
here
now.
capping,
I
homie.
was that dude too, man. Look, I was young and thin at that time, bro.
Hey.
Hey, look here. Had a cannon, bro. Look, my ass. Look, here's the deal. Now the little pee wee leagues, they don't even have a weight limit.
Yeah.
You
Oh, they
know,
do here. They still got it here.
and we
Hey,
don't.
let me tell you. Hey, every year with my kids, right? I make a bet. Like start at the beginning of the summer and like weight goals, right? Like, I did it with Mike all the time. He might have made it a couple times, but what offense was I running back in the day? Who gives a shit? They can keep that shit, man. I don't even know. I was
It
just
was
hey,
the old Nebraska wishbone.
let me hand that ball off, bro. Hey, I played for the Omaha Cornhuskers, bro. You better ask somebody. We was out there whooping people's ass. South
Man,
Omaha, baby, right out there in Hitchcock Park. Right next to the pool, man. We had them big old. We used to have to run around all 5 of them baseball fields before we started practice.
oh man, yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah,
And I'm just
That pee
busting
wee
your
football
chops.
that
with
is
this
that.
Pee Wee shit, this Pee Wee stuff. So like right now, Cam, my youngest one, like last year, he weighed in at like 70, 75 pounds in the fifth grade playing running back. So the goal is to get to 90 when he weighs in August.
Yeah.
And he's like 78, 79 pounds right now. $200 bet. I bet him $200. He weighed 90 pounds.
Hey,
Cam and they.
Christy, I'm just busting your chops, right? And you did do what you always do. Your second one is generally a little smarter. You know what I'm saying? Just busting your balls though. Because I got to. Because
What
I
is that
got.
picture on Chris E's thing, man. What is that picture?
Yeah, well, I don't know who
Wondering.
that is.
I've
I don't
been
know who
wondering about that.
that is. Yeah,
Let us know, Chris.
I'm not sure. Yeah, where does that come from? Um, yeah, I'm not ready to do all this, D. You know, first year quarterbacks had. I understand what you're saying because of the first year quarterbacks dealing with that defense, that kind of stuff. He says, bookmark this, and I'm gonna post me cashing in my tickets in Tunica when it's over. I like it.
Dang, where is he from?
Tunica.
Yeah, that's not too
He lives in Mississippi. That's my boy. That's my
Mississippi,
boy
right?
right now. Yeah. He's told you a couple of times in here before, but he let me
okay.
know where is it? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where he lives, but I don't think it's terribly far from you though.
Okay. If he's in North Mississippi, it's not that far.
Yeah,
Sip.
in the
Yes,
SIP.
sir.
Is anything in the SIP very far away?
What you mean?
I mean, like it's not the biggest state in the world, right?
Nah, it's
It's a
not.
collage of my
North
photo of my
South.
ID photo
South.
using AI. He says it's a collage of my ID photo using
Oh, okay.
AI.
College ID. Huh.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
So that's your picture, but you used AI to kind of turn it into something else. Okay. All right. He lives in Horn Lake, he says.
Oh, okay. He right up the street.
Right.
Right up the
See,
street.
everything right up the street, Mississippi.
Oh,
See?
yes,
That's what I
sir.
just said.
Well, I mean, if you go from the top of Mississippi to the coast, that's a long ass drive, bro.
True that.
That's a long ass drive. That going across the state, nah, but going from north to south, oh yeah,
How long a drive are we talking? Is it because it's windy roads that are 2 lane, or is it because
no,
it's
it's all four.
okay.
But if you from Horn Lake, might as well say Memphis because you can't. If you're not from there, you don't know whether you're in Memphis and Horn Lake. You might go across the street to Dollar General and be in Memphis, and on the other side, right next to you, you in Horn Lake.
Mm.
So that's you can't really tell. They Horn Lake, South Haven, they all just mesh. You don't know what you know.
With
You go,
Memphis.
yeah. I mean, you get further north, you can tell. Okay, I'm in Memphis now, but the outskirts, you can't really tell.
Oh, okay.
But from South Haven to Gulfport, shit, that's about a maybe 6 7 hour damn drive.
Yeah. But okay, so for comparison's sake though, in New Mexico, if you go from the southern tip of New Mexico to the northern tip of New Mexico, you're closer to like 11 hours.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's at least 8
Dude,
from.
11 hours?
If you went from where I'm at right now, which is Hobbs, and you went up to say Farmington, guaranteed it's 11
Oh,
hours.
that's like diagonal though.
But it's still
Oh, dude, I used to go cruises. I mean, like maybe six,
from
seven
where?
cruises up straight up the interstate up to toward Denver. You know, it was like 6.
On the interstate of hitting
Yeah,
I-25 and going up, but that's
yeah.
because Cruces isn't as low down south as you act like it is though either.
But
What are you
see,
talking about?
Well, it is in the south. It isn't definitely in the
Dude, it
south
doesn't
part.
get much more south than that.
But I'm just saying, as far as landmass is concerned, you're looking at minimum 10 hours anyway. I'm saying from going all the way, but going to where? Where did you go into Denver? Oh, well, going into Denver. Yeah, it's different than going over to Farmington or something like that too. I'm just saying it's a longer drive, most definitely. It's a large landmass. Think about Texas. Think about Texas. You lived in
But
Cruces, so let's say
east
you
to
had to
west on
go
Texas
down to
is
Houston. Go down to
ridiculous.
Houston.
It's fucking ridiculous. Bro, the first year we went to South Padre Island for spring
Yes.
break, we went from Cruces to San Antonio. And I was like, bro, what the fuck? Like, where is this spot, bro?
It takes
Like, I had no
forever.
idea. Like, you
It
know what I
takes
mean? Like, we didn't have maps on our phone. We didn't even have phones. You know what I'm saying? In 98, whatever that was. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, bro, we went, dude, and then from San Antonio to down to South Padre was a hella long drive too. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, I gotta go back.
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about
Crazy, bro.
In Mississippi. If you live central Mississippi, you are nowhere from nowhere. I mean, if you live in central Mississippi, you're 6 hours from Dallas. You're If you live in North Mississippi, where I'm at, you're 3 hours from Atlanta. You know, you hour and a half from Memphis. You shit, man. Like I say, you're not that damn far from damn Knoxville. 4 hours from Knoxville,
Mhm.
from Nashville. You know, so either way, it's still 4 hours. So it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of places. I mean, I can get to
But it's
Chicago from here.
not as far as it seems or whatever?
Yeah, I can get to Chicago in 5 hours.
Oh,
You know,
wow. I
St.
didn't
Louis,
realize
excuse me,
that.
St. Louis in 5 hours.
Yeah, Houston to El Paso is 12 hours.
Dude, it's ridiculous, bro.
It's
It's
the
absolutely
most ridiculous drive I've ever
it's
taken was from El
yeah,
Paso to
dude.
fucking Houston. It
Yeah,
drove me nuts.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it was
couldn't. I
brutal.
mean, that's hell. It don't take me that long to get to damn Oklahoma from here.
Yeah, dude. That's yeah. Texas. Oh, that's crazy.
Oh,
Man,
dude,
yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. It's just a different deal. Well, and if you go to the boot, you go to Louisiana,
Yeah,
shit, you're across Louisiana fast.
dude. Here's the deal with Louisiana. I mean, and then you talk. Let's just talk Louisiana. You talking about you live in Central Mississippi. You still 2 hours from New Orleans.
Yep,
You know, you live on the coast. You 45 minutes from New Orleans.
correct.
And y'all depending on where you live at down there. So Mississippi is kind of connected, man. You know, Panama City, which is not that damn far. But when it comes to colleges, man, you got from where I sit, you got Ole Miss 45 minutes. You got Mississippi State an hour. You got Tuscaloosa hour 45 minutes. Auburn 2.5 hours. Knoxville 4.5 hours. So it's I mean just all like I said, it's just a bunch of damn schools. Within 2 hours I could damn near reach half the fucking SEC.
Mhm.
Within 2 hours drive from where we stay at.
Houston to New Orleans, 7 hours? No way. No way. It's like 4, maybe.
Yeah. But
Because it's not that far. I mean, you think you get into like Beaumont and stuff like that, and you're what, an hour, hour and a half from New Orleans?
man, I hate driving in Texas. I ain't tell
Yeah.
you no
But
lie.
Houston's, I mean, damn sure it's damn near the edge of the east edge of the state.
yeah.
South Texas, it ain't that far to New Orleans from there. No way. Maybe 3 or 4.
I went to a place called Hutto, Texas. Y'all know where that is at?
Tuttle, Texas. Yes, I do know where Tuttle is at.
We
That's in
played
the
in
middle of fucking nowhere.
yeah, we played in a game in a tournament, FBU football tournament out there. We beat Houston and we beat Dallas out there. But man, I went to that freaking school and man, they were building it at the time, the football stadium. Man, I was shocked. I mean, it's like
Mhm.
we got some damn JUCOs and some damn Division twos here in Mississippi that don't look like that, bro. I mean, they do not look like that. And I'm like, where in the hell are they getting all this money from, bro? But they build big stadiums in Texas, bro.
Yeah.
High school stadiums. I'm talking about it's unreal, unfreaking real. But
Yeah, and I guess you could be right. I guess, yeah, it depends on what part of Houston because it's a bitch getting through Houston. But I'm saying as far as like, but for what Austin to Houston is what 2.5 hours or so? Seems about right.
mhm.
5 hours 42 minutes. Oh, look at Jenna's being smart, going onto the maps, going on to MapQuest and that
Yeah,
shit out.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Or hitting her Apple
hey,
Maps. Smart.
hey,
Hutto is
come on,
basically Austin now. The Hutto Hippos. Yeah, it used to be out there in the middle of damn nowhere. That's where that kid that
dude. It's nice out there, bro.
oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, it's like they done like
The
everything in
whole
Hutto
Austin
was.
area is cool. The whole Austin area, I mean, the outside, I mean, a lot of hunting area and stuff like that. It's a lot of trees. It's a
But
little different than the rest of the state.
but I'm talking about like the new communities and everything that's going up.
Yeah.
That I seen a lot of that when I was out there, and that was 4 years ago. So it is no telling what it looks like now.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it was nice as hell. I know that much. Know that damn much. So what?
Yeah, it
Let,
says
let me ask. Let me
depends on
ask
how
you a
much you
question.
had to drink.
Say what now?
Said depends on how much you had to drink,
Oh yeah,
on how far it is.
man. Them damn
I've
toll roads
driven
out there get me, bro.
from from Corpus. You said from? Did you say Corpus or Houston? I thought you said Houston, Ryman. My bad.
Man,
Because you
you
live
go.
in Corpus, yes?
Shit, dude, Corpus, Corpus, bro.
Corpus
Yeah,
isn't Houston.
hey, I seen what's the name asked me if I went to Matamoros. Yeah, we went over there.
Yeah.
Wasn't there very long, but we
Been
went
to
over there.
Matamoros.
Yeah.
Matamoros is
Yeah, I've heard of it, man, but nah, I've never been.
Hey man, did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that they found a new pope? They got a new pope.
already.
Yeah, it's, Sir Theodore Layman.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that one. Yes, yes.
Hey,
That's.
he just did.
I'm telling you, bro. Baker, Tattoo
Look at.
Baker
He
is
did
a
a new one, bro.
yes. Tattoo Baker is a
That's hilarious,
national
bro.
treasure, bro. A national treasure.
That shit is hilarious.
He is.
Man, he
Theodore
put
Layman.
that's crazy.
That shit
The
is
white
so
put
funny.
out the puffs of white smoke
Oh
because we
god.
got us a new pope.
Cats are
We
man.
got a we got a big the number one kid in Kansas, another tight end. Go figure. Um, he's releasing his top five tonight. His name's Ian Premer. Hopefully,
I thought, well, and I was thinking it was.
hopefully Oklahoma
2026 kids.
Are we talking? Are we talking portal guys? Or are we talking?
high school.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Cool.
How
big
big is
tight
he?
end. Man. Hopefully,
How big is he?
shit, he's fucking taller than I am. I talked to him at one of the practices I was at.
We get off on tangents there, Shawty. We just get off on tangents, bro. It's how we roll. You already know.
Yeah. No, he's a big kid. He's athletic as hell. Hopefully,
Nice.
Oklahoma's doing it big.
Well, according to everything we're hearing too about as far as like looks like they're going to end up with from what I'm hearing anyway, it almost feels like you're going to get this Lance Mason kid out of Missouri State, 6'4", 240. Yeah, 34 catches for 590 and 6 touchdowns last year. Everything that Chris Mason was talking about the other day was that he's pretty good, like a 7 out of 10 as far as what he ranked him as. So, pretty good stuff, man.
Yeah, I seen him. He's tall. He's tall. He's lanky. He's a big target. It doesn't look like he's running real fast because he has long ass legs, man. But
Right.
he eats up the middle of the field. From what I saw on tape, I mean, he eats up the middle of the field, man. He's a big target. So hey, we need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's your 7-on-7 going to be up near Memphis again?
Man, we haven't. Let me see. We didn't do anything up in Memphis this year. But we did do something at Ole Miss, which is just right down the street. But the 7-on-7 season is, man, pretty much wrapped up for me. They're leaving this week, going to Houston to play in the national championship. So they won a couple of tournaments, so they get a chance to, get an free invite when you win tournaments and stuff. So man, they're going up there this weekend, man. But nah, we keep them on the road. That's for sure, man. Keep them on the road. Keep me busy. Keep this right here going. This damn hair going. That's for sure. But but nah, man. Back to the tight end, man. The tight end. I watched film on him. Matter of fact, we talked about him last night. He eats up space, Jason. And that's one thing I can say. He eats a lot of it up, being that damn big of a damn target. Um, that's something that we don't have now. The the new kid that Lil Mike threw the touchdown to. What's his name? The tight end that we have.
Kent,
80.
Carson Kent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't look bad, man. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Neither one of those guys, and they've had the other kid too. That's looked pretty good as well. Both of them have, right?
Yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out. They trying to stack these rooms, man. How much time do these guys have? That's one thing I'm looking at. Do they have 3 years, 4 years? What's the eligibility like on these guys? So you trying to stack the room for 2026, 2027, and guys, there'll probably be some guys leave, in the fall next year or whatever the situation is. But I look like they trying to stack that tight end room just like they trying to do every other room that they got.
They need to get this kid out of Great Bend, Kansas. Get him in the program, man, because he's a hell of an athlete, man. Start building.
You know, Kansas State gonna fight like hell for him now.
Yeah.
Yep. Any word on?
Kansas State got the Cure kid last year. He ain't going there.
Oh,
They
okay.
got that Lincoln Cure kid. He was like a top 5 type player, top 5 tight end in the nation. So there was two last year. There was Lincoln Cure and Desan Brom, and that kid, the Brom kid from Derby, Kansas, was, dude. Let me tell you something, man. That kid, I love to have that kid, bro. Good Lord. You want to talk about big, athletic as hell, like just a monster, dude. Just a monster. But yeah, missed out on both them.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah, as far as the UCO kid, not that I could tell you as far as that. I know we were both asking, K. Chris and I were both asking about him the other day, and he didn't have anything concrete on it or anything really to say about it so much. So I don't know. And I don't know that they're, I think that if you start talking about whether or not we're going to get another wide receiver, I think with the way things are looking in that room, I don't know that they are. I don't know that they are. It doesn't sound like they're feeling like they have to do such a thing. Right. Um, they, I think they don't feel like they have to do it. We could argue that all day long, and you know, I think that everybody's got a little bit of PTSD from the fact that you lost so many last year. But I think that honestly, losing so many last year, some of those guys that got playing time, they may not have looked ready then, but it definitely got them ready for the next move, which is getting there, you know, to the next level. So I don't know. We'll see kind of what happens, but I would tell you that I think if Giovanni really is coming back early in the season, which it sounds like that's the expectation,
I think so.
then you know I don't know that it's something that they care that much about.
And I'm gonna say this, man. With Jim Nagy being who he is, if if that was something of a concern, you probably would have got it the first day that the portal opened,
I
kind
feel
of
like
like they did with the running back. You know, so if that was a big concern, that would have been, you know, that would have been on the forefront the first couple of days of the portal.
yeah, and I think that you know the other people that have asked about like say cornerback and stuff like that, and kicker's a different deal because they're harder to find, right? Um, that are good anyway.
Dude,
But I
like
would say, huh?
we needed a kicker in the worst
We
way, dude.
definitely fucking need a kicker. But I think other people have talked about corner and stuff like that. I think that they feel like they have what they need there. And for the view of the fact, and here's the deal. Cody was saying it earlier, Professor was saying earlier about corners are easy to spot. And honestly, the portal guys that they've gotten the last few years, what have they done? You know, you just hadn't seen a ton come out of those dudes. And it's just, and the reason why is because there's just not a bunch of them that are going to be in the portal that are
Hmm.
worth the shit. If you're good, you're gobbled up, or they're not letting you leave. You know, they're making sure they retain you wherever you got recruited to. So to me, but I do believe that Gentry is looking like he's going to be in good shape. You know, and he everything we've heard from him is that he feels better than he has ever. You know what I mean? So the hope is that he stays that way, obviously. But I think that even without him, I believe that they think they've got the guys they need in the room that can fill in there, particularly with that defensive line. I'm going to tell you guys again, getting Stoney to stay was huge, huge, huge. Not just for this year, for moving forward, because recruiting wise in that area, that was not going to be a good look. A 5-star guy from 10 minutes away not staying.
Yeah, that was going to be a hell of a blow. Um, oh, when you think about everything
Mm-hmm.
in a nutshell, you you got to make sure that those guys are good,
Yep.
regardless of the situation. You got to make sure they're good. And I miss Monday show, but that's one thing that I know that's from my doctor. His son plays collegiate ball. Got a lot of people I know kids play collegiate ball, and I'm gonna tell you something, guys. You know those type things with Stony, every program wouldn't have worked it out that way. And Stony wasn't on Twitter, talking about I'm visiting this team. He wanted to stay. And that's a lot of these kids make sacrifices and want to stay. And the fans gotta realize that, you know, that kid made some sacrifices too. So, for all these crazy folks saying crazy stuff about him, a bunch of bullshit. He's a great kid, man.
Yes, he is.
So people gotta kind of look at, kids do make sacrifices. It ain't all just kids out here being greedy because we all know
Yeah.
that ain't the case.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to say this, and I was going to say this for towards the end, and you guys could hop in or hop out if y'all want to, but it is not just people in the fan base that are talking shit and saying stupid shit. You've got insiders, quote unquote, that are
Mm,
saying stupid shit too.
yeah.
So the good news is that he loves, and look, being from where he's from, Stoney understands that, Coach Smoot, and what's up, Coach Smoot? Good to see you, my man. Coach Smoot calls him Gump Twitter out there in Alabama, right? You've got the Doomer crew here at Oklahoma, right? The Oklahoma Twitter, there's some crazy motherfuckers, and it gets a lot worse, like we talked about the other day, when you get inside those message boards.
Mm,
A lot worse.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
But I would tell you that Stoney understand being from Oklahoma and the way that people he knows it. He used to, I used to think Stoney was one of the best with trolling OU fans on what he was going to do, whether he was coming or not. He used to fuck with them.
yeah, he
Because
did.
and he understands what's up. You know what I mean? He understands how they are, and that without those guys, you're not going to get the people that care as much. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
You got to keep the people that care about the program in the program, bro. You got to do that. And he cared about the program because if he didn't give two shits about the program, he could have got a bag or two different places.
he could have got double what he was getting what he was getting last
Yes.
year at Oklahoma. Now,
Right.
again, I would tell people that the people that are saying it was cut in half. Now, that it may be the look of it as far as on paper and what the salary says, or however you want to look at it. But from everything I hear, whether they gave him any more or whatever, and what I'm hearing is that I think they gave him, so they did something with it as far as restructuring, is what I
Yeah.
think it is. But there's escalators that will mean that he can make more this season if just getting the amount of snaps that you got from what's his name?
Terry.
Yeah, from DeJounte Terry, correct.
Hmm.
Which he would be that guy. And DeJounte Terry got 300 plus 370, something like that snaps last
That's
year.
a lot.
He got 94.
Yeah. That's
And
not-
DeJounte Terry was the number 2 guy at that tackle position, not the number 1 dude. So it tells you that there was, you should expect for Stoney to take a step forward and be able to reach those goals and stuff like that. Now, but I'm going to tell you this. I'll say this again. Yes, stop doing that to players. Stop attacking immediately, no matter what. But some of these guys like Brandon Drum, stop putting out people's fucking business too. Their personal business, putting it out there and then instead of saying sorry, saying stupid shit like what he said. I'm going to play that for you guys here in a little bit. There's a couple of different clips I want to play. But I would just tell you guys stop saying stupid shit and talking about people's families, because I don't give a shit what you may have known or didn't know. There ain't no way that kid wanted his family being hung out to dry for all of Oklahoma to hear.
Mm-hmm. And it was kind of done, maybe thinking that he wasn't going to come back, but regardless, man, yeah, I know, trust me, regardless, that's something, I've been on the air since 2009, talking about different stuff when I did TV, but man, I never get into that realm of bashing a kid or because they're still kids. Now you go out there and commit a crime, then you commit a crime. But you bash a kid for a decision at 18 years old. You don't know what's going on in back at home. You don't know every conversation. You just know what somebody told you because you wasn't there. So that's one thing I think the OU fan base is good to be passionate, but also kind of hold your tongue sometimes. Wish a person
They
well, and
pay
then
attention. These kids see it all,
oh yeah, they see it. They see it. So
and your
but
future recruits see the shit too.
yeah, they don't understand though. Your fan base can hurt your recruiting. Don't say it can't because it can. It can hurt your recruiting. You know, so like I said, kudos to David and his team, man, and OU to get for getting that done. That's something that I think shows a lot to recruits. That's in the fold right now. That hey, look, we're going to take care of our people, you know. And
Yeah.
you have to be open lines of communication. Like I told you, I was just talking to Coach Bill, before I came on the air, man. Um, I thank the world of Big Bill, man. He's one of the, he's a true leader of young men, man. And that's thing that a lot of people are worried about right now is just where everything is going with college football. With this profit sharing thing you got coming up, and you got GMs now. I mean, football has just changed so much, and the fans got to understand they got to change a little bit too. They got to change what's going on. They got to change just a little bit, because you don't,
Well,
you're
I
gonna
was
hurt
saying
your team.
something. I had made I said something in on a tweet that Gerald McCoy had said, and he said that he was proud. Now Gerald started taking a lot of heat for this, and he said that he was proud of Stoney, and this was on Friday or Saturday, but he immediately got attacked by a bunch of dumbass fans, the doomers, whatever. Yeah, dumbasses. Well, they're getting paid, so they should be treated as such. You know what? Look,
Who
I
said
understand this.
that?
I'm going to tell you this much. And Ryman Lemon has talked about this, that when you're a public figure, you have to expect some of this. I get that, right? I get that. But there's a line that even public figure or not, you got to be careful with that shit. And even if whether they're getting paid or not, they are still kids.
Well, look, a child star gets paid, does he not?
Yeah,
And
and
they still you just can't treat them like you treat a damn 30-year-old adult either.
well, some people think that you can, but that's where I would tell people
No.
this is where we need to be better than that as a fan base.
If you're a parent of an 18-year-old, you know what the hell we talking about. And
Yeah.
you're not a parent of an 18-year-old, then you probably don't understand some of the dumb shit 18-year-olds do. And I'm not saying David did anything wrong. I'm just talking about in general.
No.
I got 4 boys. I know doggone well they do stupid shit.
Well,
You
hey,
know,
listen, man. I mean, I never
you
did
know.
stupid shit, but I get it that other people did.
Yeah,
You
and,
know.
and the thing about it is, you got so many people out here. Um, you got so many people out here judging these kids about what's going on, and not judging the university because they don't know what's going on inside these universities.
No, they don't.
You don't know how they, telling kids, hey, look, we got to do this for you now. We couldn't do this last year. We're gonna give you a little bit more, and then they turn around and say, well, you didn't play as much, you didn't develop as much. We're gonna take a little bit from you. Now in the NFL, it's a whole lot easier because you got a damn contract.
Right.
They can't just go and change that some bitch in the middle like these colleges are going and doing. So, I mean, give the
And that's what
kids
I
a
was
little bit
saying,
of
that they were
grace.
going after Gerald like that. And what Gerald was saying, I think Gerald knew, obviously, that there was a conversation about to happen between Coach Bates, whoever else. I mean, all of them. I would think in the Venables probably had a big part of that. I'm sure Nagy had something to do with it as well. But Coach Bates was making sure that he had to make sure that happened. And I think that Gerald knew that was going on, and that's what he was talking about. He didn't say he was proud of him for leaving. He didn't say anything. He said, "I'm proud of you, big guy." You know what I mean? And he came back saying, "You guys don't know what I'm talking about, but do continue." And in the end, what I was saying was like, yeah, we're gonna, and we as fans, I said this, we as fans have to do a better job of what we say, but also holding other fans accountable for not being dumbasses.
Mm-hmm.
When they say something stupid, tell them it's stupid.
When Gerald McCoy said that, he was referring to how Stoney handled it. That's what he was referring to. How he handled it and how he got that train back on track.
Yeah.
And because he could have left, man. I mean, it was there. He could have left. Miami would have took him. Y'all know he would have took it. They would have took him and gave him more money.
Probably double. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, they gave him more money, but that shows that, hey, look, this kid want to play for OU. It's a lot of kids on this team
Absolutely. Well, and
that
that's
can
where I was
go and
saying
get
the other
more
day,
loot.
we talk about loyalty and acting like all these players from the past were so ultra loyal to the name on the front, and it wasn't about the name on the back. You think that because you couldn't do what these kids can do right now, right? At least not out in front in public. And if you were going to leave, you're going to sit out a year. It could throw everything off. You think that they were completely loyal to the brand and not as loyal to themselves. Bullshit. I guarantee you, every Sooner legend that you love would have
Free Sooner legend. Free Sooner legend.
Sooner legend. Yeah, shout out to Sooner legend, free Sooner legend. But every Sooner legend that you love would have taken more money to go elsewhere, probably.
A lot of them would have
A
because
lot of
they
them would
system.
have. They wouldn't be Sooner legends necessarily because they got offered more money elsewhere. And you know what I mean? And it was out in the open. I mean, it just depends. That's why I think among the big boys, you're going to have more parity. I think throughout the SEC, you got more money, you're going to have more parity. Same with the Big Ten.
Yeah, it
But
says Chris was talking about Nico's brother.
yeah,
Man, you
I mean,
know,
I think that there's. Go ahead, you answer the question.
well, here's my thing. I think that he did the smart thing. You know, you can't say what he did was wrong, or you can't say what he did was bogus.
Eh,
He fulfilled his obligation. He went through the spring. He got his check, and he
Hey,
bounced.
I think
listen, if
I can say that was a little screwy.
Arkansas is scheduling like the money, like all the money to be paid out before the portal ends, they deserve to get took. You know
You
what I
know,
mean? Like
yeah,
you better wait till the portal ends before you start handing out these big bags
Right.
in the contract.
yeah.
You
And
know
So
see,
what I mean?
cheers
that's
for
the
the $4.99 super chat. A lot of these crazy ass fans living their dreams through these kids. Absolutely. And no doubt about it. And that's what I said on one of the first things I said to Gerald McCoy in that tweet was these guys, there's a lot of people that forget that they didn't have any talent and don't know shit about the game for them to say shit like that and act like it's always easy to look back on the past and be nostalgic about it. But if you're being real, do you think that we get Adrian Peterson without paying him and his dad money? Because I don't.
oh yeah, man. It's look, bro. You preaching now, and a lot of people gonna get quiet on it, but
I'm
a
not
lot of
hating
these
on
old school.
anything. I
No,
think they all deserve to get paid. So I don't give a fuck that they did it. I'm just telling you, these guys it was about money always.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was ways of doing things through the program, through friends of the program, in every big school, not just Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Florida. I mean, it was it's just on top now.
Right.
It's just on top. You can
Yeah,
see it.
it's just out in the open is what it is. But as far as what do I think about Nico's brother and all that, look, I think if you set it up in a way that you can get burned when you know that this has happened before, then you're probably, and I mean, they flipped it the last second to come to Arkansas. and apparently it was just so that they'd be closer to Tennessee and he could go, Big Nick could go to games, both their games on certain days or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I think that had a lot to do with it, apparently. In
and I
the
think he wanted both of them in the same spot.
end,
That's
yeah.
why he went to UCLA. You know,
You think Billy Sims got paid too? I promise you Billy Sims got paid too.
man.
Every one of these guys, hey, you gonna tell me that are you
Bro,
gonna tell me that the boss wasn't getting fucking money?
man, look.
Come on now. I
Dupree.
mean, let's just be real. But I'm just saying we have to realize that things are different and these kids are navigating it as best they can. And I'll repeat one more time. I'm gonna repeat one more time. They didn't make the rules.
Mm-mm. They didn't make it.
They didn't make the rules. And I would tell you that more times that people enter the portal than not, they're being pushed into the portal too.
Oh hell yeah, every day. Every day.
You know why they don't talk about it? You know why they doesn't never get said? I'll tell you why. Because the school doesn't want to say it because then it makes them look shitty. And the kid doesn't want to say it because it makes him look like he sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Got a kid going through that shit right now.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is he got recruited over. Not saying that he's a bad kid. I think he's just as good as a couple of kids that they got, but they got production. And he was to the point where, look, you just brung in a couple more guys over me, I'm out. And trust me, he has a bunch of offers right now. He's not that big, but he's still got a bunch of offers. They're
So
not P4 offers, but they're
let me
FCS offers.
let me ask y'all this, right? So like you know
FBS
how
offers.
we're talking about like kids getting money and going where the money's, like the best, right? And
It's not
there's
always about that, but it's
well,
gonna be
no,
you're
hold on,
gonna have to be at
but
least
typically, hold on. Typically, before like, you bring in a kid and recruit a kid or bring somebody in the transfer portal, I'm out, right? Because they don't want to compete. Now, throw out money, right? Throw out money, and let's go back to the late '90s when I played. Okay, let's say they brought in some JUCO dudes and there's no money involved. What does that kid? What does somebody like Marcus do if they bring in somebody that they got want to compete for his job? Does he bounce?
Now you sit there and play.
What do you do?
Now you sit there and play because number one,
Exactly.
you
And
couldn't bounce like that back then.
yeah, but
you
but
didn't have the
the
opportunity of the choice.
mentality was different.
But
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
the mentality was different because there was a different times and you had certain
You
options.
didn't have the
Yeah.
opportunity. The
Yeah,
mentality would have changed if there was that opportunity.
I
But
think it would
now,
have.
but do you think now if you insert money and like they do like today back then, do you think the same thing would have happened? Like
Yes,
those cats in the late '90s would have stayed with the money and competed and like, man, fuck this dude. This dude ain't better than me. You know what I mean? Or compete,
dude.
or do you think they would have bounced?
It all depends on what that money would have did for that kid. That's what I'm saying. If that
I
money,
have a hard. The reason I bring that up and the reason I bring up those scenarios is I have a hard time with some of these kids and their mentality. Like they just want to pop smoke at, you know what I mean?
well, man, but here's the
And I,
thing, bro.
I I can't get down with that, bro.
But
I'm sorry.
it's not about you getting down with it. I understand where you're coming from, but you know, these kids are getting a chance to change, man, what's going on in their whole life. And so why would I sit here
So
when I know,
so
hold on, let me
I think it's
finish.
more
Yeah,
widespread payments, right?
yeah,
yeah.
but why would I, if a school tell me I need you at this position, and it in the situation, my mom got my little sister and my little brother, and she's struggling like hell. And I go over here to just say Louisville, and Louisville gonna give me 300,000, and I'm only making 25 or 50 here, bro. I'm going to change my because if I'm good, I'm balling, I can still go. So it's just different scenarios, man.
So let me throw this scenario at you, right? Let's now because this Nico thing going to UCLA, right? So the kid that was there ahead of him, I can't remember his name right now, got $1 million, right? The
Right.
kid from Appalachian State, right? Got $1
Mhm.
million. They bring in Nico.
He goes to Tennessee.
He go to Tennessee. I don't know how much money he got at Tennessee, but like,
He got good money, man.
dude,
I was looking
read
at
Joey
that
that.
last
Aguilar.
night.
You're talking about Joey Aguilar?
Yeah,
Mhm.
he had $1 million, right? He had $1 million and just dipped on that because they brought in another quarterback.
Dude, but you
Which
got to
means
think about
But
this,
maybe,
man.
but I'm just saying, like, the competitiveness there right now
Dude,
is
the coaches, here's the deal. If you bring a guy in like that for that kind of money, ain't no fucking competitiveness,
dude,
bro.
Nico got
They
about the
pretty
same
much,
money. Nico got about the same money he was getting.
well,
but
but
that's
that
what,
was before they knew that he was gonna that this
yeah.
kid was gonna go, and just like that kid left to Tennessee knowing that he's got $2.5 million at Tennessee that they could theoretically pay him.
Well, and here's the kicker with it all. It's just like this. If you bring in a top-notch kid,
Mhm.
bro, your ass, if with these alumni,
Their
they
ass
So
on
want to
the
you
see
say
mountain.
that
Nico's
damn
top
kid.
notch? You're saying Nico's top notch?
Well, to the alumni and everybody else, he was a
Is
five-star
he bought?
quarterback.
Is everybody's acting like Nico's so trash? But
I'm not saying he's trash. I didn't. No,
he,
no.
you think
Just
he's
because I
how
said
far?
you think he's top notch
If
does
you
not
were to
mean
rank him, if you were
trash.
to rank him
You
among
can't
quarterbacks
do
in the
that.
country,
You
I'm
can't
asking
do
you.
that.
I'm
All I
asking you.
said was
If you
I
were
don't
ranking
think
him
he's top
among
notch
quarterbacks in the country, where would you rank him?
right
Dude, he
now.
had
Yes.
Not top.
I didn't
what's
say
it?
top. I said, where would you rank him?
I mean, I don't know all the
Is he a
quarterbacks.
top 25
Well,
quarterback?
how you gonna not rank him then if you don't
What are
know
we
all the
talking about?
No,
quarterbacks?
I'm just saying I don't know. I said I don't know all the quarterbacks. I don't pay attention to all of college
I would tell
football.
you he's a top 15-ish guy, probably.
I think he's a
I
top
don't think that
10.
that necessarily equates to shit at UCLA.
Hey man, listen,
They're gonna be
system.
horrible.
All about system.
They're gonna
I
be
mean,
horrible.
I don't know. I would probably say if I had to rank Nico, I'm just trying to think of like, you know what I mean? He
I'd
ain't
probably have him
better.
somewhere 15 to 20 myself.
What's that?
15 to 20-ish,
I
depending
would
on
probably be in that range, maybe
yeah.
squeaking in the top 25.
Well,
Oh,
think
I
about
would
that.
think
If
he's
you're a
higher
top
than that.
25 quarterback, the market says you're worth X amount of money,
How
right?
much? What is that? What is that?
I
How
said
much
X
you think
amount
you
of
get?
money. I would guess 2
1.2.
million ish,
That's what I'm saying.
1.5
What
to
is it?
2 depends on where they think you are, right?
Yeah.
It depends on where they think that you are. But in the end, I mean, this goes back to what we're talking about with this Bo Bentley versus Jaden O'Neal stuff. And
But let me finish my point right here.
go ahead.
I don't like the fact that these kids are giving up money and a lot of money to not want to compete. Bro, compete.
But
Compete, bro.
you
If
think
he
that he
beats you
gave up
out,
money though?
hold on,
Because he
hold on. If
didn't.
he beats you out, you got a
Dude,
bill and then transfer.
No, I think that he got the meal, or he was going to
Bro,
get
he
the meal,
didn't
but
get the
they're
bill. Come
spreading
on.
out the payments or
He
whatever.
he
got
didn't get
there.
all that paper. He didn't get all that
Got there
paper.
in
I know.
December.
That's what I'm saying. Relax. I'm trying to explain what I'm saying. Why would you stay for that meal when you can go get more than that at Tennessee and know that you're going to get that job?
Dude, why? I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. He doesn't know he's going to get that job. Did they tell him? You know what I mean? Because I just don't. But that's what I'm saying. You're leaving one competition for another competition, is my point. Unless they
How do you
explicitly
know it's a
said,
competition?
but that's
'Cause if
exactly my point.
how do you
That
know it's
so
a
we have to.
competition?
So yeah, maybe they said Nico's our guy. See you later. That's very like that's. I'm okay with that. If they do that, then you got to go right. But like, you think Tennessee told him he's their guy?
Well, look,
Yes.
what if he walks in
I
that
do.
office? Hold up, let
Yeah, I
me give you
do.
a scenario. Let me
I
give you
do.
a scenario. What if he walks in that office, Mike, and he said, "Look, I see y'all just got Nico, and everybody's looking at this situation. Everybody in the country is looking at this situation.
If you don't think that
And if
Nico
this
was
kid, if
promised
this,
that job,
and
No,
when
no,
they,
I'm laughing at Jimmy Satterfield's comment. That's
hey,
all I'm laughing.
look, because
That's way out left field.
here's my deal.
That's funny.
They all this drama and everything that's going on, and they still go get this guy. it's not a competition. You got to have common sense. It's not a competition, bro.
That's a whole nother problem
It's not a
right there.
competition.
What you just said, a
But
whole
am I
nother.
lying? Am I lying?
You have to have
Quarterbacks are
competition,
different though,
and these
brother.
schools
They're
aren't doing
different.
it. These
Yeah.
schools aren't doing it.
Well, I
We saw
understand
how
that,
that went last year when you just anoint somebody as you're the guy.
but I'm just
But it's
saying
different. It's
that's the
different to
reason why
have
he
a
left.
guy in the same position, same class, or whatever. Like we're talking about Jaden O'Neal versus Bentley. I'm just we can stay with this conversation. But what I'm saying is it's one thing for you to compete with guys that are above you in class wise and you have expectations, but two blue chip guys and that are both, I mean, the expectation was this kid was going to be a starter. You know, Aguilar was going to be the starter at UCLA. When Nico comes to UCLA, he's no longer that guy. That
And
he was no longer the
be-
starter.
because
I guarantee you he was no longer the starter.
what are the boosters are saying? We got to bring him back home. We want our guy, and they
That's
want
right.
their guy.
And Tennessee didn't get him to come to Tennessee unless they told him he would be their starter, or
That's
at
right.
least expected to be their starter, as long as he doesn't suck.
See, man, that's the situation. Is I feel like that's why that kid bounced. He had a conversation, and the job. You never heard the
You
coach
know
say it's
that
going
he
to be
was
a
getting what,
battle.
2.3,
Be a battle.
2.4. Nico was getting 2.3, 2.4. They didn't have to pay that to Nico. So he's going to at least get his million back.
Oh, he gonna get he gonna get more.
It's
He gonna
probably
get
gonna
more.
go a little bit. It'll go a little bit longer too.
Yeah,
And
especially
then
with
the
being in
cost of living.
Tennessee, no state tax and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, for sure.
So Nico, don't get me wrong, man. I'm not I'm not bashing that kid, but I think
But
they didn't look
I
at.
just like jumping, like and not developing to me is at the core of it, right? Like I just feel like they're not developing as players, and it hurts them in the long run. You know what I mean? Like that's just I just
If you got
I
a
don't
if you got a
know.
really good football coach, position coach, you can get a lot out of him in 2 years. He was there only what? He was there 2 years, right? How many years was he there? Two?
Who?
How many years was he there? 2 years at
Nico?
Tennessee?
Nico?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
So
been paying him for 3, though. He's been getting paid for 3.
yeah. So my thing of it is with this kid, they wanted him back in California. They got his ass back in California, which is cool. I'm not blaming him because guess what? If a school can restructure in the middle of a contract, the kid should be able to too. Point blank.
Well, there's that too.
And I'm
But
not saying he was right for asking for
I
that
want
amount of money.
listen, I want the contracts to mean something. That's
They
what I
don't mean
want.
shit.
I know,
They don't mean
but
shit.
I want them to mean shit. I want them to
Yeah.
mean shit. Like that. That's I yeah. Yeah.
We both know
No
that's
problems.
bullshit. Yeah, I mean, you can have a contract and then they can come in and change that something in the middle of it. The
Yeah, I
schools
don't
can
like
do
that.
that. And
I
but
don't like
that's where we are right now. So
But
don't be so
but
hard.
if you go and try to change your contract,
Oh yeah, and then you're bad. Then the
you're
fans and
bad.
everybody
Yeah,
else is gonna fuck
yeah.
with you. You
See?
know what I'm saying?
Exactly
So
what I was talking about. All these people that are
Yeah,
giving Tennessee all this fucking
it's a
love.
stress game though.
Fuck out of here.
It's a
or they
killer
don't know because
sport,
they
man.
don't know. They're not in the know. They don't know what's going on. But I'm gonna explain to some of you guys. Your kid can get a contract in December. And if they want to reconstruct that motherfucker in 2 months, they would do it.
Mm-hmm.
So if a kid comes in the middle of the year and says, "Hey, I want more money. I'm playing really well," but now the fan base is gonna be like, "Oh, he's just money hungry." But what about when they cut a goddamn kid? You know, and that's all programmed. That's happened across the fucking country.
Yeah.
So what happens when you cut this damn kid? You know, 60, 30, $40,000. And let's just say he had that money accoladed to for an investment or a business or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. It ain't just well he out here spending money on cars and ice and everything else. What if that kid legitimately had some investments that he was doing with his money. And now all of a sudden you change it and he don't have that money to make these investments. Because you just said 3 months ago, okay, I'm cool. This is what you're gonna get. And so he goes to his financial advisor and say, look, I want to invest my money here. I want to invest my money here. I'm gonna buy this property here. We're gonna do this, that, and the third. And then 3 months later, I can't do that. Well, you already bought this investment property, so we can't finish, the construction on it because that money is not there. So every kid is not throwing away his fucking money.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Some kids are doing productive things with it, and then when you turn around and say, okay, we're gonna reconstruct that in the middle of the damn contract, you're doing shit to his life that you're holding him up. So when a kid comes and say, hey man, time for your ass to pay up. Don't have your lip poked out because that's gonna come. That's gonna happen.
Well,
So
yeah, and I mean,
they just got to be
look at what
prepared
Caden
for it.
Proctor did. Caden Proctor left Alabama last year, came back in the spring portal, and he kept the $100,000 that they gave him to go to Iowa.
Hmm. Yeah, and shit,
And
like I
there was
said,
nothing that they could do about it. Now, do I think that that's? I
it's
mean,
scamming. That's scamming.
it's a little it's a little on the shady side. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. Again, I would tell you that the Iowa, Bama, all these schools have been shadier.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But
They have.
this is what I want people to understand. Quit texting in these people damn inboxes over shit when you really don't know what's going on. You don't know, don't text. Don't write. Because it's easier to point the blame at the player and then but not point the blame at the administration.
People
Because
care more about the name on the front than the back.
oh, definitely. They care way more about
PR,
that.
man. It's all PR.
Hmm.
It's
And the
all
thing,
PR,
I'm
man.
talking about fans. I'm talking about fans.
No, but I'm saying though that's what gets the fans acting the way they do. It's the
Sure.
narrative in the PR from the university or the student athlete.
yeah,
It's just each one's trying to compete, and 9 times out of 10, the student athlete's just going to take it because he doesn't want to make it look like he's a, he's a. I don't want to say like he doesn't want to make it look bad at the university that because he's trying to get picked up by another university, and he doesn't want that university to be like, well, this kid's just going to trash us online.
yeah,
You know,
definitely. I mean, that's
he's
one
just
reason
gonna.
why kids be quiet. But it's almost like it's a silent deal,
Yeah,
man. Like if somebody done did something to somebody, they don't want nobody to know, hey, he touched me or she touched me in the wrong way, because they don't want that publicly being known. That's kind of way with these kids when they're violated. They don't want nobody to know they've been violated. Because they still try to have a relationship and move on. That's something that happens a lot.
Well, you can say that, but I think, and here's what the thing I think that Nico did wrong was not go to that practice. I think that
Yeah,
was a bad mistake on his
yeah,
part
we talked about that. He
because
should have finished the. He should have finished it.
what that did was it allowed somebody to get an opinion about you and your dad and whatever the hell, which and it probably turned people off of him that would have been on him.
Well, Jason,
Otherwise.
Jason, do you think if he had played in the spring game,
Yeah.
did all that, and then the next day hit the portal, do you think the narrative would it be the same?
dude, he probably would have got some more money.
He would have.
Yep.
He would have.
They completely jumped
Because
the
it
gun,
wouldn't have.
bro.
I think that
Completely jumped the gun.
once the narrative turned into what it did about his dad and everything else, and
But
I
was
mean,
it a
it shot like
narrative? Was it a
wildfire.
narrative?
Nah, it was the truth.
I don't know if it's a narrative or
Wanted
not. Well, it depends on who you ask. It depends
Yeah,
on who
I
you
guess
ask.
you're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Everything that the cat from On Three post turned out to be right. Everything was right.
Everything,
Everything.
everything. Yeah,
Hold on a minute. What he said was right. I'm going to tell you what that was, and if you're not, come on, man, you know this is how this is. Watch, listen. That shit got leaked to NACOS who put it on 3 so that it got started. They got a hold of Nick. Nakos called Big Nick, and he was saying, no, 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 no. We're not having any problems. We're not even having any communication about that stuff. He said no to him. Now, where did Big Nick screw up? He went to Twitter and said he was a bitch and he was getting obviously pissed off about what was going on. But Nakos broke that
That's not the
story.
point. The point is it was true.
Let me finish, and you'll understand what I'm saying.
You're spinning it though.
That was seeded in the minds of that fucking fan base, and it was seeded into the minds of what was going on with Nico and his family and everything else. Now, did they want more money? I guarantee you they wanted more money. No two ways around it. But if there was nothing being really said at the moment, which I don't think that there was, and they certainly didn't want to make it, they did not want to put it out there and make it public until it became public. And then he went online and said that shit on there, and it made him look bad. And then he really fucked up by telling him don't go to practice tomorrow. Once that happened, I think that Tennessee wanted that shit to go down.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Did I say Tennessee wanted to leak it? I said everything that Nakos posted turned out to be true. That's all I said.
Yep.
Not all of it.
That's all I said.
What part of it didn't?
He definitely set it up. I mean, look, they used Nakos and gave him the info he wanted to have.
They didn't do that. I'm not saying they didn't use it. All I'm saying is it turned out that everything that they said was
I'm not saying that Nakos reported anything falsely. I didn't say that.
You're not even hearing what I'm saying to you right now.
I didn't say that he reported anything falsely. I do hear what you're saying.
Come on, man. But you're arguing something.
Yeah, this getting good.
I didn't even make that point. You're arguing something completely different. It turned out he was true, and you going in on like, well, they leaked it to him, and his dad did this and that. I thought I'm talking about. All I said was true.
I'm telling you, it was all a setup. That's what I'm getting.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was still true. Even if it was a setup, it was all true. That's all I'm saying.
What was this? What was all true though? What do you mean by that?
That he was holding out, that he was trying to get more money, and
because he wasn't holding out until that phone call was made. After they leaked it to him,
they said he was threatening to hold out for the bowl game.
You know what? They paid him, and it wasn't just him that was threatening to hold out for the bowl game. It was multiple of his teammates that you don't know anything about them because they're not bringing their name out.
But again,
they paid him then. So everybody we're going to go after Nico and his family.
I'm not going after anybody.
For doing business the way that Tennessee taught him to do it.
Bro, you're not even listening. You're not even listening. It's crazy to me.
You're not listening either, bro.
It turned out to be true, and you're like way out in left field in conspiracies. Now we can talk conspiracy. I love conspiracies. But that's not what I'm talking about.
I'm telling you that not all of it was necessarily true. I don't think that it was. I don't think he was trying to hold out.
I'm asking you to tell me what wasn't true.
He wasn't holding out until after that first story broke. He wasn't holding out at that point. He had been at every practice.
But he didn't say did Nakos that first tweet that he broke out, did he say he was holding out for more money? Or he was just trying to renegotiate?
Said he was renegotiating.
The first story that came out was that they were in the middle of basically an intense like renegotiation. I don't know that is true.
Well,
I think that did they want more money? Yes, but you've also heard that they hadn't spoken about money. There's other sources that are saying that there was no talk about money since January.
Yeah. I'm not saying that's not true.
But then that story isn't completely true then.
No.
He
was in negotiations for NIL.
Was he though? Was he still negotiating his
NIL? I think he was. Everybody think he was.
If he was doing it before the playoff,
the coach said he was.
That's where I was talking about the leak. I think the leak was happening because they may have known that it was about to come, or he may be about to get into the portal. I'm telling you, man, I don't know how you guys.
That's a whole nother angle that was not even in with the point that I like. It just
I'm
like,
telling
even
you
if
that
he was trying to do that,
if they hadn't spoken at that moment when that story came out, if they hadn't spoken since January, I don't call that a negotiation.
a pause in negotiation.
There wasn't a pause. They didn't. That's not what the damn story said.
Well, I do know with contract negotiations, sometimes you have what they call a 90-day cooling off period,
But it's
and
been more than that even.
so it might have had a cooling off period going on. I don't know, man, but I can tell you what, that was pretty damn good right there. Now,
Well, but he always tried to do that, bro. He always
hey,
tried to
hey,
spin it. That's
look,
not what I'm talking about.
hey, I ain't heard one of
He
those
always
in a
trying to
while.
spin some shit.
What I'm saying is that I'm not spinning it. I'm telling you that I don't know that everything wasn't a whole setup. And because, and I'm telling you this, I don't believe a fucking thing Tennessee has to say. I don't.
I don't believe anything anybody has to say. I don't believe Nico's camp. I don't believe Tennessee, and that's my point. Is I
Nico
don't
doesn't
believe
have an agent.
because everybody's
Like,
trying
he
to
doesn't
win
have
the PR. I gives a shit. Like of course his dad's gonna say that they haven't done this and they haven't done that. He's trying to
He wasn't
create
saying
the PR in
anything.
a positive light for his son.
He wasn't saying any. No, and that's not just even just coming from him. There's other people that are saying it. But think about this. It gets leaked immediately that he was one of the ones that was going to hold out from the playoff game. He doesn't even have an agent, Bishop Frank. He doesn't even have an agent. But it gets immediately leaked to all these guys that, yeah, he was going to hold out from the playoff game. They don't leak the rest of the names, just Nico.
All I'm saying is this, man, is I don't doubt, like I'm probably pretty honest and not pretty honest, but I'm pretty sure what Tennessee leaked that shit. I'm pretty sure. Like I'm not disputing that. But all I'm saying is the shit looked like it was right and it was true.
I'm not
Whatever
saying
they
some of
leaked
it
or
wasn't
whatever.
right. Some of it was absolutely right.
Yeah.
Some of it wasn't necessarily all the way right.
The majority of
Some of it was
right.
narrative that was coming from inside Tennessee and his buddy or his source that he would trust his life with.
Shit is fucking what everybody on the real for real, everybody's missing the point.
I'm not missing the point that
I'm
you're
not
trying
missing
to
the
get.
point.
You're saying over and over again that Nichols didn't lie. And I'm not sure that some of that shit wasn't a lie.
Boy, you stupid.
What did you just say? Did you say something different?
Man, you stupid, bro.
What'd you say?
He said he was trying to get away from Latrell.
Get away from Latrell, man.
No, that could have very well been it. I love that one.
Trying to get away from Latrell, bro. He fucking was like, damn, I'm out of here.
Man, that's crazy, man.
Out of here.
Man.
But at the end of the day, bro, that shit was misplayed. There was bad moves, and it cost them money. And that's why I don't like it. Whether or not it was true, whatever happened, he didn't want to play in the offense.
Well, now you're changing the fucking thing that you said. So I don't know what you mean.
Took money. He lost money, in my opinion.
That's what you were saying earlier.
And that's why I don't like it. I don't like it. And there was bad moves being played on both sides. And nobody, listen, man, nobody wins. I said that the last time we went on. This shit is dumb and nobody wins.
You can't be hesitant. You can't be, quick to react. And I think they were real quick to react and everything.
Yeah.
Man. You have to think things through.
Yeah, I think they definitely made a mistake. They definitely made a mistake in not sending him to practice and doing that shit, because then you allow that narrative to continue that you're the bad guy in this.
Nobody likes to be strong armed.
Nobody likes to be strong.
Nobody likes that shit, bro.
Right. But again, I would come back with
whether they're in the wrong or in the right, they don't like to be strong
armed. To not take the word no for an answer. They taught him that when they were paying his ass in high school. And then they taught him that by when they were about to get their ass in trouble with the NCAA for using NIL as an inducement, they sued the NCAA.
Right.
Because they didn't want to go by the rules and they didn't want to get in trouble. And so everything they taught him all the way up, and then they taught him it some more by paying his demands before the playoff game. And yet you wonder why he's still playing the game this way. You've shown that it works.
You gave him the map.
Damn right.
And then he lost it.
And look,
so they fucked up and lost the narrative, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
What's Southern Texas say? That's why I love this podcast. You never know when a fight's gonna break out.
Hey,
That's facts.
hey,
Or-
all you gotta do is make sure
Every
you clip
fucking
this
time we get
motherfucker
on
in the
here,
middle.
every
Make
fucking
sure you
time.
clip the one in the middle right here, right? Like you did
Nah.
me. Make sure you clip that shit.
Oh man, it was getting good, man. I wanted some more. That's why I didn't
Derek,
say
do you
anything.
not think that was the playbook that they were playing for all this time? And now I mean, it amazes me that people would think that Tennessee did some noble thing for fucking college football. But with,
The pot can't call the kettle black, bro, because
I mean, come
without
on, bro.
Tennessee suing them, you wouldn't be able to use these NILs the way you're using them right now. So you can't pot can't call the kettle black on this one, bro.
Oh, okay.
You know. So
Okay. That's good.
I have no sympathy, for the school because you could have said back in December, we're not gonna do it. And then who would have looked really bad then?
Dude, when Tennessee leaked that shit, like I'm gonna be honest with you, they were already done with them.
Yes.
I
You know what
think
I
they
mean?
were. Yeah.
They were already like, well, we're
Yeah,
done with this
because
shit.
you
And
can't
why?
come back.
Here's
You
You're gonna
why.
can't
do
come
that
back
to
from
keep
that.
you want to keep.
Think about this. First off, they were probably pissed about the whole situation that they built this whole situation, but they were mad about that. And the other thing is I think that they knew that they weren't going to be a 10-win team back to the playoffs anyway, with or without him.
Yeah.
I
It
think with
probably
or
did.
without him, they felt
They
that
keep
way. And
telling us
why
the same.
give up that money
Yeah.
whenever we don't have to? I
Well,
think look,
here's the deal too, Jason. Okay,
that's not on Nico.
if we send him down the road and we don't win as many games next year, then we got
It
an
doesn't
excuse.
look bad on hype.
It doesn't look
Right?
bad on height
Yeah.
because hey man, my quarterback wanted too much money. We had to set a precedent. We sent him on down the road. So
Out of here, set a precedent. Yeah, like the
yeah,
McDonald's bag precedent.
right.
But like, if he was that guy,
Got to set a
then the
precedent.
money that he demanded, they wouldn't be worried about that. And it just goes to show you that they didn't
Hold
have
on.
that faith in the type of quarterback that he was.
In a
Because
year or two, though, but in a year or two, do you not expect a quarterback that's a 5-star to make a jump?
I
And I'm
don't
not.
know, bro.
Maybe they
I
did.
don't know.
Maybe they didn't believe that. But it
Well, he
also
would have been
could
going to the
be,
NFL after
you could
next year
also be
anyway.
better though. And if you don't have the weapons around you that they didn't have, by the way, you got all new offensive line. You don't have the weapons. You don't have the running back that you have, and you're retooling that defense. Is it going to matter how good he is? Because I don't know that it is.
Mm-mm. It's not.
All I know is I'm making my way back to Tennessee this fall, and it's going to be on.
Oh yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going
It's
to
Oh
be.
going
yeah.
to be on. And you know what, man? I could have came out and talked some shit to the Tennessee fans about how shit was going and all that, but I didn't. All right.
Fuck.
But there will be a time. There will be.
Fuck
It's real.
Rocky Top, man. Fucking
Yeah.
hate that song.
And my wife know that song. She can hear that song.
Everybody knows that damn song if you've ever been to a
Man,
Tennessee game.
dude, that shit it's
Hey,
crazy,
hey,
man.
listen, man. Listen, Oklahoma. All right. We better be in Tennessee deep. You feel me? Like there better be some
Man.
Sooner shit going on across the stadium type shit, right? The way they come in
They
there and we
will
sing
be.
Rocky Top, we got some gets backs, and
I
we
think they
better be
will
up.
be unless you're already having a shit season or something like that. They'll be there because that's
Oh, dude.
yeah.
Regardless, fuck that.
Oh man, they Rocky
I'm
Top
saving
their
your
ass to
chicken.
death over there in that corner over there, man. They did that.
I hate that fucking song.
Start saving your chicken. We're in there.
Yeah, look, so when they were playing the song, my wife's teammate was sitting right beside us, and they playing that doggone Rocky Top. I look at both of them. I
Y'all
said,
shut up.
I said, I said, I know it. I said, I know it's hard not to say it, not to sing it because I know my wife every time it damn came on TV.
Listen, no shade. I mean, she was awesome, right? She was awesome.
Yeah, man. But the thing about it
She
is,
won
it
Natty's
was
there. They
crazy.
weren't as ridiculous as they are at this point.
Nah. I think they did okay this year. They wasn't that good, but they got a lot of damn kids coming in up there in basketball. So she still keeps up with that hard. Trust me. Her and her teammates and everything, they got their own little not Twitter group, but own little group texting group, man. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, anything happens at Tennessee, man, you hear that phone going off. Do 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 do. You know, come to the come to the Lady Vols. You know, I mean, she don't give a shit about the football team. She can tell you that right now. She didn't.
Right.
Yeah,
But I
but
mean,
no,
I
man.
think that if they here's the thing though, even Tennessee fans, even the kookiest of the Tennessee fans are telling you that Nico is better than the guy they got coming in.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Their
He's a proven
expectations have
guy.
certainly dropped since he left.
Hmm.
They
Good.
have.
Good.
Well, that tells
Yeah.
you though. That tells
And
you.
there's nobody right now in the portal that I see
Yeah,
that
who
will
the
make a
fuck were
big
they gonna go
difference.
get that was gonna make it better? Yeah. Once they didn't, I mean, look, had they have gotten rid of his ass after the playoff game, if they'd have told him to fucking hit the road, get in the portal, then they're in for John Mateer and Carson Beck and everybody else that was out there at that time.
And who else would
Right?
have jumped in to go to Tennessee? That's something you have to look at also.
Facts, yeah, no doubt.
Hmm.
Well, and look
All
at the
right.
guys that they
Hey,
lost.
Bob, already done that, Bob. Don't even worry about that. Already did
Want
that.
to take the whiskey tour on the way to Nashville?
Did that back in the day. Don't forget
Yeah,
your
Yeah,
boy was
he's wondering if you're going to be turned by the time you get into the stadium in Knoxville.
Oh, probably. I mean,
man, we
no
take
matter
it
what,
with
like,
we
hey,
take it
listen,
with us, bro.
We're gonna be there. We're gonna be there. Hey, we're gonna be there together.
your boy gonna have that fireball in the sock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro. I had that fireball. I keep that
You
fireball
know
all
what
over.
I'm saying? I'm coming through with some fireball.
Because,
Yeah,
because
I
Shit.
had to give Mike a
we got to
couple
take
of
some
shots.
cigars with us and do that cigar thing they like to do it after they beat Bama or whatever.
Oh yeah, man.
Hey,
It's
listen, man,
crazy,
I
man.
need more stadiums to be like Death Valley, man. They had mixed drinks up in there. You can
Yeah.
go down there, man. That was beautiful.
Yikes!
Dude, it
They
was
were
beautiful.
they get turned at freaking Death Valley.
Dude, I walked down there and I was like, mixed drinks? They got some rum?
That's some
They
funny
speaking my
shit.
language. Your boy went over there and bought two, drunk one down in the concourse, took another one up so I make my wife, and my wife don't look at me crooked like I only got one. You know what I mean? And I come up there with two, like double fisting and shit. You know how I
Yeah,
get down.
All
attaboy.
right.
Yeah,
Oh, no doubt, man. Like I say, man, I think we're in for a really good season, man. I think, right now that we're we're the mystery meat and along with Florida.
Mhm.
Everybody kind of know what Florida is, but everybody don't know, man. They speculating.
What
You
did you
know,
say?
they speculating right now about what is Oklahoma going to really be. But we're coming with that
I
D.
found that offensive, sir.
They're
We're coming
nervous.
with that D. We're gonna have that defense ready. And then you like you said, Jason, man, top 30 offense, man, we win 9, 10 ball games. Easy.
You get to the playoff, I think you're a pain in the ass.
Oh, hell yeah. Because of your schedule.
Dude, we need a home playoff game. Oh, we
That would be
need.
dope. But yeah, or you could win. Yeah, I don't know that you want a freaking if they don't change the way that they're doing things, and I don't know that they're gonna because I don't think the Big 12 and ACC are give a shit about changing the format right now. They
Not
don't
right
have
now because it benefits them, bro.
absolutely. They get an extra 10 million just for getting that buy.
Hmm.
So why
So,
change it if you're them? If they don't have any reason to.
I mean,
But
the home game would be so cool, man.
it would be
That would be
badass.
cool.
Oh, a home game at the Palace in the playoff? Shit. Hell yeah, it would be.
Damn ticket be high giraffe ass. You couldn't get in that sucker.
Mhm,
I can tell
mhm.
you that. You
That's
probably
even
minimum
just
three
being
hundred
around
bucks.
though, even tailgating and being there and watching it on the outside or whatever would be fucking great.
Hmm. It would be.
It'd be a blast.
Be a be a it'd
Norman
be a
would
home
turn up.
run.
Norman would turn up, man. Come on.
Hmm.
You already know.
Oh yeah,
You
man.
already know.
I already got my little mixer for my speakers and everything, man. I ordered that the other day. So we're gonna be jamming, bro.
We're gonna be
Yep.
jamming or are we gonna be doing like
Nah, bro. You come down, you come to mine, you're gonna hear some funk, you're gonna hear a little blues, you're gonna hear a little late R&B from the 80s. That's what you're gonna hear at my spot, man. So
Nice.
hey, it's kind of that's kind of how we
Dude,
do it,
90s rap. What are we doing, bro?
huh?
90s rap. That's what we need.
Man, we need. I got a little bit of it. I got a little
Bro,
bit of it. A little naughty by nature. I got
Hey,
that kind of stuff around there, man. I got all that, bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some Dre, some
nice.
Snoop Dogg.
Shoot, hey, look, I even got that Tom Loke, baby. You don't know about that Tom Loke? Funky
Who?
Cole Medina. Tom Loke,
Home
baby.
Loc?
Did you say Tom Loke?
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure you said Tom.
yeah. You don't remember? You don't remember? I think that's his name, Tom Loke.
It's what
It's
Tone,
Tone Loke, bro.
And Tom, Tone, whatever the hell.
Come
Funky Cole
on,
Medina, damn
man.
it.
Are you
Yeah.
Hey,
serious?
I had no idea who he was talking about. I was like, well, who
Hey,
the fuck is
Tone Loke, Tom Loke, whatever the
yeah, bro?
hell.
Tupac? Dude, yeah, for
Oh yeah,
sure.
we got a little pot.
Oh, yeah.
Pop, man. We'll bring him up.
That's all you get.
Little Biggie.
I'm not trying to get fucked with on here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
little Biggie, but yeah, Tone Loc, man, we bring him in. And what was the other guy
Funky
that used
Cole
to say?
Medina, man. That's some shit right there.
Oh yeah, man.
Little
And
Unchained by Van Halen. Hey, listen, we
man,
can listen to. I like all kinds of music,
Oh, fuck,
oh
dude.
yeah.
I listen to it all.
all of
Oh
it.
man, I was a big Duran fan back in the
Dude,
80s.
hey, here's how we should do it.
Wild Boys.
Each home game is a different theme, right?
Oh man, you just
90s rap. You can do your blues, right? We could have like hair bands, you know what I mean? Like some Poison, some Def Leppard from back in the day. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like we
I
could just
remember
do like
Def Leppard, man, Twisted
have a
Sister
little
back when I
Caribbean
was
day or a little Caribbean tailgate,
hey, look, that doggone when I was in school, that damn
reggae shit.
that damn what's his name? What was the guy name with Twisted Sister? What was the guy name? Snyder?
Oh yeah. Rob Schneider, right?
Yeah, yeah, man. I'm gonna tell you something, bro. In '88, shit, you go down the hall,
Little
girl's
White
hair was
Snake.
this big, all the hair was big, man, and they
That's
was
why they
spritz,
call it hair bands, bro.
That's right.
and they was spritzing that shit, man. It
D
was
Snyder.
crazy,
D
man.
Snyder is his name. D Snyder.
Hey,
Yeah,
listen, the Master P will say that for the LSU home game.
Mm.
It'd
dude,
be
let me
Master
tell you
P,
something.
it'd be no limit, some boozy, like
I
it'd be
remember
all
when Master P was on Alcorn State campus giving out ice cream, man,
yeah,
out of his
hey,
trunk, bro.
we're playing that. We're playing that.
Shoot, he was giving out ice
Mr.
cream, man,
Ice
out of his
Cream
trunk.
Man. Mr.
Yes,
Ice Cream Man. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
D
man.
Snyder.
Look, I'm
That's right.
telling
D
you.
Snyder.
So all those man historic guys.
we need like
I
speaker
remember
speakers,
when.
bro.
Oh, I
Like
got some speakers,
I'm
bro.
talking like fucking
I got speakers with the amps already in them, bro.
yeah. Oh yeah, dude. We need to be slapping out there
Yeah.
on the corner over there.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be different now. It's gonna be different. But yeah, man. I remember sitting at the lunch table, and this is what they used to do back in the '80s. Um, I remember sitting at the lunch table in groups like Mint Condition, um, Chub Rock, B, who wasn't before right down the street. I remember those. I remember those groups. Shy. I remember those groups coming to Alcorn just giving out CDs, and that's when BT and everything was really big, was showing black college football, and they would give out these CDs, and what people didn't realize the way they did their classics back then. Let's
Shawty and
just
them used to go to Freaknik, dog.
Oh yeah, Freaknik was it. But how these guys got real famous, including Puff, they would go to these schools, and after the homecoming game, they would give a concert. And so when you see all these different people from all over the place, and then people start buying their records, and because back then it was CDs, there were no streaming and all that kind of stuff, man. And I seen so many back in the day just coming on campus giving the stuff out. So a '90s a '90s party, oh man, I could do that. I already
Bro,
got that on the
so
playlist, bro.
what's the theme? What are we doing for Illinois State? What are we doing?
Illinois State, man, ain't no telling about them, man. I don't know. I don't know. We had to figure that one out. We'll figure it out. That's the first game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. We'll have a thing for every one of them. That'd be cool. I ain't got no problem with that. That'd be pretty cool.
Hey, and when we figure this out, we're gonna tweet it out for everybody. All right. That way
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
listen,
you can come
listen,
up.
we're
You
gonna
can
do a
come
lot of cool shit this
appropriately.
year.
Two
And
Live
hey,
Crew.
Kelsey,
That would probably get us in trouble.
So what now?
Live Crew
Two
night.
Live
Oh yeah, that would get us in deep
Look,
shit.
bro, check this out. I got a crazy Two Live Crew story, man. So Two Live Crew came to Alcorn in
Mhm.
1990, and they had the girls on the stage, booty butt naked, just about. So we had this guy named Chris from Gulfport, and he was just sitting there drooling. And so some of the football players like, Chris, you want to get up there, don't you? And man, yeah. We took that we took him and we threw his ass up on the stage, bro. And when we threw him up on the stage, the damn bodyguards came and got his ass and they threw his ass back out there. I'm talking about literally got him by the britches. You know how anybody ever watched the Fresh Prince of Bel Air? You know how they throw it.
Yeah, like tossing out the trash out the front door.
Dude,
Same
we did
shit.
that.
Yeah.
And look, hey, Cypress Hill, Insane in the Membrane. Hey, that's my group right there, bro. Yeah, man, I got that Cypress Hill, bro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Hey,
You never know what you're gonna get
hey,
on Rise and Shine College football, especially when Big Cuz and Big Mike are in here.
hey, look, man. We can play some Cypress Hill. We can play some Cypress Hill. I got you.
I like it.
Hey, some that can't understand how I could just kill a man. That hey, look. Bruh, that's my joint, man. They can't understand. Hey, look, bruh, y'all don't know nothing about that shit, man.
What are you
Hey,
talking about?
hey, shit, I'm talking about that Cypress Hill, man.
Well, I know about Cypress Hill.
Jimmy's over here doing. He's reminiscing on the Two Live Crew.
Oh man, yeah. Look, when
Somebody
we
say, "Hey!"
hey, look, when we threw that dude out, man, and look, the bodyguards, they were so big, they were used to it. They got Chris, man, they threw his ass. Dude, Chris went 30 feet in the air. And if they hadn't caught him, probably would have killed his ass because everybody was just jam packed, and they caught his ass when he came down, bro. But that shit was so funny. Me and about two more football players, we just picked him up and threw him on stage, bro.
That's fucked up. He almost got his ass killed.
Yeah, he was like, man, they beautiful, man. They ain't never seen nothing like that. Me and my partner looked at each other like, let's get him. we ch- we chunked his ass on the damn stage.
Fucking terrible.
Man, after the concert, man, you almost got me killed. I'm like, dude, hey, you said you want to get your ass
He's
up there.
lucky that's all they did is just chuck his ass back out there. For real.
Man, we were what, 18 years old? We weren't thinking about none of that shit, man.
That's some funny shit
We
though.
just
That is, hey, listen.
just
That's
threw him
what
on the
these are
stage.
funny to hey man. I love stories like that.
Man, look,
Love stories like that.
and that's what kids right now. This is one thing that I hate that they don't get a chance to do some of the things that we did because it's so much social media out there.
Yep.
I remember going to New Orleans for Mardi Gras, and it was just
Me
like
too. So
look,
did I.
it was about
Woo.
an hour and 15 minutes from Alcorn, and man, I had been drinking natural light all day, cheap
Mhm.
beer. We had a big ass cooler. We drinking natural light. So
Natty.
guys,
The
when
natties.
you drinking natural light, you're gonna have to go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
So
You're gonna have a nasty hangover too.
yeah, one thing about New Orleans, you could do a lot of stuff, but you couldn't use the restroom in public, man. Your ass going to jail.
Mhm.
So my buddies was like, hey man, that's a spot right there. So look, no disrespect to nobody, alphabet people or anything like that. Y'all do what you do. But anyway, I went my ass up in that damn bar.
Oh Lord, we're gonna have
And
to
look,
beat this whole fucking thing out. You gotta be shitting me.
so I went up in the bar, and it was a gay bar,
Mm.
But me at 18 years old, it wasn't. It was they. What's the name of the movie? Police Academy. You
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
the
yeah.
the leather scene?
Blue Oyster Cult, the Blue
Look,
Oyster Club.
yes. So I go up in that song and I get
Hey,
about it.
Marcus
Hey,
went
look.
in there to take a piss and come out in some assless chaps.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
doing
look. So I
the
go up.
YMCA shit.
So I go up in there, man. I get about halfway in there, and I'm looking. I asked the bartender, like, "Hey, man, where's your bathroom?" He was like, "He doing this number right here. It's over there." You know. So I get up, man. I go to the restroom. I get ready to put my hand on the knob, and I look back, and I don't see nothing but dudes and leather and all this kind of shit. But I get freaked out, man. So I turn around, and it was a guy coming toward the door. I don't know if he was going to open the door, Mike, or whatever for me, man. But I floored his ass. Whop! Hey, hey, look, Mike. He was. I hit that summit. I hit that summit. Whop! Hey, he flew out. He flew out the way. My buddies out there laughing like hell because they could see the name of the club. They knew what it was. I did. I had to use the
Oh
restroom,
my
man. I wouldn't care about
god.
that. But I'm like Richard Pryor. Hell, I ain't had to piss no more either when I come up out that summit.
Mm.
It went away for a while, man. But
I was
look,
you
bro,
probably didn't see your pecker for a while either.
man, dude.
Marcus went in there, take a piss, and
Dude,
come out with a lisp.
hey, look, man, look. I come in that something, bro. Hey, hey, Mike. When I put my hand on that door, I looked around. I like, what the fuck is going on in here? And I turn
Sorry,
around.
man.
Look, I turn around. Look, bro. I turn around, and I know the guy wasn't trying to block the door, but in my mind, he was at the door, and I'm claustrophobic like that, and I hit that something with that slip
Hey,
on, bro.
he got
Claustrophobic, that's
he
what it
got
is,
pressed
right?
by some dude.
It was
Hey,
Hey,
he
claustrophobia,
was
right?
like
shit,
5'4", 155.
dude. I don't know how. Hey, look, I was probably about 250 then. You know, I hit that something coming through that door, bro. I know I flattened his ass,
Poor
bro.
bastard. Yeah. Oh
He's
shit,
just
you
trying to
ruined
take
his
a
whole
piss, bro.
fucking weekend.
Got
so,
knocked out.
so what?
Ruined his
But
whole
see,
fucking weekend, big cuz.
Shit, man, my boys out there laughing like hell because they done figured it out. They done figured it out. They looked at the sign. I don't know what the name of the club was or whatever. We was out right off Canal Street down there. Man, I took my ass in there to use the restroom. That shit was so funny, man. It was funny an hour later. It wasn't funny to me at that point in time. Nah, man. Man, that shit was crazy, man. But nowadays somebody would have had a damn camera because here I am 6'5", 250 pounds. Everybody else I'm with very athletic, so it ain't hard to put together that either he
bro, you
played
just got
football
caught
or
on
something.
security camera, bro.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It was like, hey, look at this college football player, flatten this guy and shit. Probably been some lawsuits and all kind of shit, man. So it's been 20 years now, so statute of limitation ought to be up on whatever crime I committed going about that son of
I can hear Coach Dan. Hell no, you can't give me a hand. I love
a
it.
Hey, the dudes
Hey,
outside. Hey, the dudes outside waiting for him. Like, you shake it more than twice. You're playing with yourself.
shit. Hey, I'm like Money Mike. Shit. Money Mike said, I'm a man, Damien.
Yeah.
Got him
Shit,
in
So,
the vice grips and shit.
hell
Oh
yeah.
boy. Woo.
Shit, man, look at him. I was a big dude back then, man. So I hit that door, man. I was full speed, bro. I was
All right,
full
we
damn
really have gone off the fucking rails here. We really, really have.
Hey, that's part of this show, man. Just you'll
It is
never know
it's
what
what
you're gonna
this show
get.
is, man. We just talk about whatever the fuck comes up, right?
Hmm.
Go in for a piss, came out with a lisp. That may be that. Hey, listen, I mean, I'm gonna clip that and put that on. I'm gonna have to put that on the board. I think that's
but
got to go
it's
on the
got to be
board.
in context now. I don't need the LGBTQTI plus whatever. You don't need them coming after me. All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Listen, you
alphabet
don't have to
people they gonna
know.
come
You don't
get
have to.
you, man.
They don't have to know what it is. It's just those words only. But yeah, it's getting cut. You shouldn't have said it if you didn't want it out there.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey,
that's
look,
that's why you don't count shakes. Truoki says.
you don't count what? Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, guys are crazy.
Oh shit, man. I'm finna have to get ready to get out of here, man.
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah.
made
I'm gonna
my
let y'all
day.
go ahead and get because I got something to say and I don't want to throw this in your lap. So I'm gonna do my Brandon Drum rant without y'all. But unless you just want to hang out, it's up to you.
Man, shit don't make me no different,
I
man.
gave you enough content for the day. All right, we don't need to be arguing out here like that.
I'm not arguing. I'm just gonna let
I
him.
reached my one argument a pod limit.
So what? One argument a pod. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no,
I'm hungry as hell though.
This ain't an argument. This is a statement, motherfucker.
man, no. Mike walked into that last one, bro. That's all that is.
They did.
What I walk into?
O'Neill's. This is Jaron O'Neill. Jaden's dad says, "Afternoon, fellas. Quick story on bathrooms. I'll never forget going to the OU Texas game last year. Taking a piss, a dude comes up to me and says, Boomer." Said, "Not right now, man."
Yeah.
You don't want nobody talking to you when you're trying to take a leak, especially in those bathrooms at the Cotton Bowl, bro.
No, man, I'm trying to get up out that motherfucker.
Oh, it's the worst place ever.
A Boomer soon will break out in the bathroom at Norman now when you're in there.
They're not a ton better, the bathrooms there, but they are a little better.
Yeah,
man.
I gotta say, man,
that's
you gotta
crazy.
have troughs.
Troughs, the old trough.
You got that's the problem, man. The lines be getting long as hell because they got a urinal and then like a couple feet urinal. That's like not maximizing space, man.
Right.
Be having to pee. You gotta wait in line and shit.
There's probably a reason behind all that.
Credit to Mid Zoo. They had troughs in their stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It sure did.
Talking about what I just put in there. Wait. Which one? I was so pissed off about it, but the OSU band members were crying, laughing. So I took, whoa, what is this? OU band used to break into small groups and play different parts in different parts of the stadium. Bedlam one year, the OSU band convinced one of the small groups to march the men's room. Talk about being mad. I was so pissed off about it, but the OSU band members were crying, laughing. So I took pictures for them. Fuck OSU.
Hey man, the new Kansas City airport got like genderless bathrooms. And I walked in there, I did my thing, and I come walking out, and there was a girl right there, like in the sink, like washing her hands, and I was like,
"Are we sure it was a girl?"
Oh yeah. And I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "I done messed up."
I went to the wrong spot. I walked to the wrong side.
Well, Martin Lawrence said, "Check the Adam's apple, bro."
Yeah. Hey, your boy walked out and looked at the signs, and I was so confused, bro. I was like, "What the hell is happening right here?" Like, what? And then, but like, it was like general neutral bathrooms, bro. And I was like, "What, dude?" I was all nervous, bro. I was like, "God damn, I didn't even know."
Yeah, man, there's no way. Okay, yeah, we're gonna stay off that shit.
It was all stalls.
Okay, well, at least there's stalls, but still.
Yeah, it was weird, dude. It was super weird.
Wear me right out.
But like, so here's the crazy thing, right? Too, like, so in like other countries, like let's say like when I was in Korea, right? You be in Korea and using the bathroom, and the people that are like down in the subway, like the people that are cleaning, and the same thing with Europe, those girls will be in the men's bathroom cleaning like nothing, dude. They don't even care. You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there one day.
Europe is a different. Oh no, you're right about that. Europe is a way different deal than. I mean, they talk about the Americans, the people that came over from the to colonize were the prudes. They ain't wrong.
Oh yeah, dude. It was crazy, dude. Like I walked in the bathroom and she was standing there. I was like, damn, I'll walk out. And then like people started walking in, and like then I'm like, what the hell? So I just went in and took a leak. It was crazy.
Yeah. It's definitely different in Europe. There's all kinds of shit going on everywhere.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Especially certain parts of it. Damn. Yeah. Wild stuff. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming in, joining the show as always. We'll be back here on Friday for sure. Me and Big Cuz will be on tonight, right, Big Cuz?
Oh yeah.
We got a show we're talking about. It's gonna be it's a recruiting show. More about the SIP than anything. But you got to go to Big Cuz's channel to watch it. I'm not gonna run it on mine because it's not gonna be about OU stuff. I don't want to mess with my algorithm. So make sure you get over to the Gridiron Insight. My algorithm's fucked as it is. Make sure you get over to the Gridiron Insight. Would it be 8:30 Central Time?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
8:30 Central Time on the Gridiron Insight. So make sure you guys get over there and check that out. Anything else you guys want to add before you leave?
No, man, I'm gonna get out of here, man. I'm finna go.
Free Sooner legend.
Yeah.
Free Sooner legend. Motherfuckers.
Yo, we out, man. Peace.
All right, man. Peace out. All right. Appreciate those guys coming in. Love everybody. That's all I got to say. See you on the next one.